Hello. How's everybody doing? Oh my goodness. I had to go through a lot of different trials and tribulations here with attempted upgrades and things of a technical nature. And then I'm doing that all in addition to... There we are, that's a little bit better. Doing that all in addition to a time constraint. I've got this going on, then I've got another thing going on, and I've got to prepare for a flight out for the next week, and I'll be gone for most of next week. Most, if not all of next week, depending on how things go, and so it has been one heck of a day. It's been a good day, but it's been one heck of a day, and I hope all of you are having a wonderful day and weekend as well. Hopefully not nearly as hectic. I got you on the TV while I'm getting some stuff cleaned up. Absolutely no worries. I've said this before, and I want to go ahead and make sure that this is very clear for anybody who hasn't been to my channel, who doesn't frequent my channel. There's no expectation. Because if there were an expectation, then the reason that I did this for would be null and void. The idea is... Retro's on the big screen. Nice. The idea is hopefully that you have fun. It's this little first area. Usually what we do is we just take the time to converse on different various topics that just kind of come up. Nothing is off limits. My only ask, is that people are respectable. But like I said before, there's no expectation to chat. If you're one who likes to lurk, or you have to cut out early, or whatever the case is, no worries whatsoever. Again, I ask that people that do debate or talk on here are respectful. I think that's pretty well the only thing, but nothing's been off topic. As a matter of fact, last weekend we talked about opinions on election results, taboos about different various people in the media space, as well as gaming, politics, and where the heck they are nowadays, which, by the way, I've been a huge proponent on several of these streams for GOG, and again, I don't have any sort of sponsorships, I don't get paid any money from anybody to do anything. GOG and Ash actually brought this to my attention. Of course, I'm a frequenter of GOG and have been for many years. They're celebrating 18 years pretty quick, I think, coming up pretty quick, so... they've been starting an initiative, which I really am a big fan of. So, as you know, I'm a proponent of them and someone who advocates for them, because if you are a PC gamer, firstly, I'm going to just be very clear, I'm a retro individual. I've been playing games for a very long time on various platforms and consoles, literal decades of just trying to cultivate and grow and catalog games, and for preservation's sake. Now, of course, that's more difficult even with physical media nowadays. But on the PC, it's especially difficult because a lot of people are opting to completely go and forego physical media. As a matter of fact, in a lot of cases, physical media is not even manufactured for PC consoles. Not in all cases, but in a lot of those cases, that is the case. And of course, physical media does still require licenses to play the game, which means you have to have an online connection to a server. A third party generally has to validate it, as well as whatever end user and client has to validate it, which is kind of silly in my opinion. I've been a big fan of GOG since they've launched. I've been a huge fan of them. I started purchasing games like the Baldur's Gate games and some of their earlier initiatives. They used to, I remember in 2018 or so, they were doing the FCK DRM, which I've talked about a lot of times. GOG, you download your games. There's an offline installer. You don't have to be online. After you've downloaded that game, that offline installer, you have everything you need to have the game independent of GOG. If GOG sites go down and they even say the zombie apocalypse comes, you can download it. Recently has started an initiative to preserve games that are just dying out, that are losing support or losing updates or not compatible with a lot of the newer consoles. And so they've started this initiative, and I went and took a look at the initiative once it was brought to my attention. Again, thank you, Ash, for that. And several of the games that they're bringing as a part of this initiative, right now it's 100 games deep, and they're intending to go as deep as all of the games that have ever been launched that are not receiving any support. And of course, I'm still an advocate of things like My Abandonware and such, where you can go and download them while they're not being supported actively or sold. But GOG is actually working to give them quality of life updates to make them compatible with new consoles so that we never lose them, and that gives them the offline installers as well. some of these games are being sold on sale right now for between $69 and $99 or $1.29 American. So I went in and bought a couple of them off of that initiative. I buy in bulk with these guys because they have sales that are crazy. They have giveaways. There's a giveaway going on right now for you just click on your email link, redeem it, and they give you a free game. If you're on Prime Gaming, they partner with GOG, so all your games on Prime Gaming are given to you. You keep them. Hundreds of games in my GOG library. But if you're interested, you couldn't find a game that you were very nostalgic about on the PC that maybe had lost support, it might be worth checking their catalog for this new initiative. What Game Before says, I'm a big supporter of GOG and their work to keep old PC games supported. Absolutely. And this recent initiative being especially that, right? Not just their previous work, but even to try and go above and beyond to get licensing and rights and whatever other complicated paperwork likely has to go into preserving some of these that have been left in states of disrepair, I think is remarkable. I used to buy games from them when they were still good old games. Exactly, yeah. So I've been with them since they very first started out, or at least I was very first able to get access to them. That would have been around that era too. So they were brought to my attention fairly quickly after their launch by a gentleman by the name of Kenneth. I won't give his last name, but by a gentleman by the name of Kenneth, who's much more a PC gamer than I was. But me being a retro enthusiast and those guys having games that are available on no other platforms was just a huge thing. Being able to pick up the Thief games was a really big motivator for me right there. Just those games. And now my collection is several hundreds of titles just on my GOG library, I believe. I think it's like 751 titles or something like that. It's something ridiculous, some ridiculous number. But again, it's also not breaking the bank because GOG does a lot of these sales. Like right now they've got games, they do games on sales for like $5.99, $3.99, $1.99, 69 cents, 89 cents. They do a lot of those. So I do pick up a lot of those games too. And they've got a pretty good library of just free games that are kind of fun too. And I think there are like 40 or 50 of those just that are free games. Play them, have them, whatever. If the zombie apocalypse is happening, I won't have time for PC. I'll be pretending to make new friendships before turning on them. You need food, Ash. You gotta have food, yeah. Hopefully the apocalypse can wait while I get a Stream Deck or a Rock Ally. Hopefully so. Hopefully it will be so kind. I was a big fan of the Journeyman Project games, but only ever played the first one. Having all three on GOG was awesome. Absolutely. It's the thing that I love about it is, and I understand that, and I said this before, they're getting a little haughty about it. Not haughty, I don't want to call it that. They're rightfully, how do I want to say it? They're being rightfully playful about this, with Steam now having in our area, not all the way around, but states like California have mandated it, and it will continue, I think, to gain steam and traction, whereas no pun intended, but Steam now is literally having to put a flag disclaimer on the checkout stating we are not, basically we're not selling you the game. You are buying a license. You can't say buy to own if you don't own it. You can't say, so you have to give this disclaimer that says you're purchasing a license, and there's a terms and conditions that let you know that license is not permanent. It's not, it can be taken away from you at the discretion of X and Y parties, etc. I love GOG because they went back and put the banner up and it's like, we can't take it away. Once you buy it, we can't take it. Whether our site goes down doesn't matter. You can literally put it on a flash drive. You can put all the games on a hard drive or a flash drive, and you can launch them fully right there. GOG versions usually have a way of foregoing copy protection, but they all come with digital scans of the manual in case you want to implement the old-style actual copy protection codes. So, for example, one of the most, I think, notorious ones, at least in the era, was King's Quest, particularly King's Quest 6 had one. King's Quest 5 had a pop-up one, but anyway, King's Quest 6 had a really notorious one because it was the Cliffs of Logic, they were called. And effectively, your job as Prince Alexander, you had to climb these Cliffs of Logic to get to the top part where this angel-like group of people live. And there are three major traps along the Cliffs of Logic where they are only, you can only forego them by copy protection. So you have the copy protection piece there. And so the GOG versions basically make it so you can kind of just click whatever and it'll still work, but they also give full scans of the manual in case you want to do that. Do you have some forgotten classics you would recommend, Retro? It depends on what kind of games you're into. Absolutely, there are some. I don't necessarily know forgotten classics. Some of the big ones that I really, really like, which I do think don't get the amount of recognition that they deserve, are the D&D Mercs. Yeah, that's a good one. It depends on kind of again. It kind of comes on the games that you the kind of game style you want. But if we're talking about real old style, we're talking about these, very retro games. I would say the Gold and Silver Box collections for D&D are some of the best, as well as some of the standalones that came out of it, like Curse of Strahd and Menzo Berenzin. If you've played any of the D&D stuff, you've played like Baldur's Gate 3, you'll be familiar with what these words mean, right? You'll know who Strahd is, you'll know where Menzo Berenzin, or what Menzo, well, it's where, but Menzo Berenzin is and what comes out of that. They were really well done, and they had really, really good, honestly, they had really good stories. The storytelling on it was just immaculate, and I'm a huge fan. Of course, I have no mouth and I must scream on here, which I think has been kind of pushed to the wayside because of several topics that it has. 704. Okay, so I'm going to take a look really quick. Let's look through my catalog. 743 games is my GOG collection right now. So I said I thought it was something ridiculous. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. 743 is what it shows to be. So that's a lot. That's probably more than anyone. But I'm really big on wanting to be very clear. I'm very, very big on wanting to. I'm very big on wanting to preserve games, and so that's why, especially when they offer them again for pennies on the dollar. I haven't spent $700 on everything, I promise. Let me scoot these over really quickly so that I can reference my catalog at the same time and go through a couple of them that I think don't get enough recognition. And my big old strategy games, yeah, absolutely. So if you are big into those, again, the D&D, those D&D games actually have a strategy element to them. They're not, I've got a lot on there. Yeah. As I say, I thought I had a few games with them, but yeah, and your collection, if you're a big GOG advocate and you've been for the past almost 18 years, you probably have a few hundred, if not a few thousand as well. But yeah, I'm at 743 right now. And I can guarantee you that I will hit 750 before the month's over easily, because their deals are too good. The D&D games are very strategy based. You actually have a strategy based combat system, except for like in Curse of Strahd, it's a first person kind of point and click. It's very similar to, if you're very familiar with the D&D style games, it's very similar to what is the Dungeon Hack, I think, was the big one. There was another really big one, like Eye of the Beholder. It's not that style. It's a top-down strategy style where you actually have to play that. It's not like a Sid Meier style or Shogun style, but it is very. There's a lot of that. There was. It really depends on how. I mean, anything for me, anything Sierra is big, and I think everybody knows King's Quest, Space Quest, Leisure Suit Larry, Police Quest. I think everybody knows that. Gabriel Knight. I think I've made mention of this one before. Conquests of the Longbow, which is a Robin Hood point and click by Sierra, is one of the best ones. Honestly, it may be better than the King's Quest games, and that's saying a lot. There's also the Colonel's Bequest, which is a phenomenal. That one's parser system, so not point and click, command based. But those two games right there, if you're a very big, mystery kind of Sierra point and click, I think those really get thrown under. Daggerfall several years ago got a Unity update, and there are several quality of life mods that have been introduced. And I think people know Elder Scrolls, but I think a lot today people are dealing with like Oblivion and even more so Skyrim. You got to bear in mind Skyrim at this point is 13 years old as of this month. As a matter of fact, 5 days ago. So the Unity update of Daggerfall and the quality of life improvements to the control actually make it remarkably playable. Very, very good story, and it's a gigantic map, one of the largest maps. I do need to go through and finish Baldur's Gate 2 someday. Oh yeah, absolutely. Baldur's Gate 2 is a classic. Neverwinter Nights is a classic. what is the other one that I'm trying to think? Icewind Dale. Those are really, I mean, those are obviously classic. I just don't know if everybody's kind of forgotten those, but they do seem to have fallen kind of by the wayside as well. But I think a lot of those have kind of done that. One of the things I will also encourage, which I don't necessarily know that this is a hidden gem, I don't know that I'd say that, but what I would say is, if you are seeing all of the news on the Dragon Age Veilguard game, which seems to be pretty divisive between critics and audience, but I think fairly unifying in the audience, that a majority of the audience the gamers don't seem to enjoy it or have enjoyed it for one reason or another, I heavily recommend the old Dragon Age games, all the way up to Inquisition. I'd say Origin, Awakening, 2, and Inquisition. Origin is arguably one of the... I would say it's a masterpiece of RPG gaming for the time. And it's available, I think, for cheap, if not free, on occasion. I think they did a giveaway for it, but I think it goes down... Like, right now, I think it's probably $20, but then it goes on sale for like $1. It's well worth picking up for $1. Another thing is the Horrorsoft or Horrorcraft? I can't remember which they were called. Those games. Let me see if I can see them. It was either called Horrorcraft or Horrorsoft games. Horrorsoft, I think it is. But anyway, in the Horrorsoft games, which are Waxworks and the Elvira games and such, those ones were really, really cool. As far as point and click, as far as mystery, I mean, they were known. Horrorsoft was known for basically making some of the most gruesome death screens, kill screens. It's a puzzle game in the same style. It's kind of more as King's Quest. It's more first person, but it's still point and click with puzzles. And they were known for making some of the more gruesome ways you could die, the more gruesome villains. I mean, they're legitimately creepy. They're legitimately unsettling. And especially when you take into, like, one of the things I think that people don't realize today is that high definition, to me, makes things less creepy. Right? Because it demystifies a lot of the effects. Because the amount of granularity that we can nitpick, like a special effect in 4K or 8K, our ability to catch it out is probably for the next few years going to at least outstrip the ability to show an effect that is convincing. These games actually had this kind of they were made in a lower resolution, so your mind is kind of left to fill the blanks in, which I think is really cool. So it's very unsettling. So it's legitimately creepy. I think those games are absolutely worth mentioning. I'm trying to skim through here and see if there are ones that I think just don't get enough love. And of course, Ash made some pretty good recommendations there too. From I would say not quite as esoteric as mine. Like I agree with him on that, but I'm pulling some Comic Zone. Comic Zone is I think that's a great game. Let's see. So I'm trying to make sure that I am going through my I guess to plug another little GOG thing really quickly. CD Projekt Red made a game follow-up to The Witcher called Thronebreaker. And if you're a fan of the Gwent game that they had, you'll really like it, but you can actually take the Gwent element out of it and just play the story. It's pretty darn impressive. There were also a lot of point-and-click games that were made by non-Sierra companies, which I'm a huge fan of, but I'm trying to diversify. Like, I'm thinking Legends of Kyrindia and the like, but I'm trying to find ones that are outside of that. Trying to find ones that are kind of outside of that, even though those are some of my favorite games. I'm very glad I have Comic Zone and the Sega Collection on Steam before they pull it all down. Yeah, I'm really Thimbleweed Park, which Ash has made reference to me several times. Thimbleweed Park can actually be gotten on your computer. It can also be gotten on your cell phone too. So if you're really interested in just sitting down and playing a game, a point and click style, and Thimbleweed Park is more in the LucasArts style. So it's much more similar to like Maniac Mansion than it is for like King's Quest, but it's really, really cool. I ended up with it on both my phone and computers. Really, really good. As far as the Sega thing goes, I'm very lucky. I have a very I'm really wonky when it comes to, I don't say wonky, that's not necessarily true. I guess it can be, but I'm really odd, at least, when it comes to off-putting. When it comes to playing those types of games, I try not to play console games on my computer if I can help it. And I'm very lucky to have a very, not quite complete, but very comprehensive physical Sega catalog. And Comic Zone, of course, being included among those. There's a new Metroidvania that's been announced that's clearly inspired by Comic Zone, had the comic panels and everything. That is really cool. I need to take a look at that. I did just see Fate of Atlantis is on GOG. Yep. I also picked up Roller Coaster Tycoon, which I think was $1.29, the deluxe edition, because that was asked about before. And then again, if you're a Prime member, if you're a member of Amazon Prime, for whatever the reason, I am, because we do a lot of shipping, they have Prime Gaming. And in Prime Gaming, every couple of days, they kind of disseminate 5, 6, 7 new games. And about half of them, at least 3 of those titles, will be GOG titles that you get to lay claim to and keep forever. So I was actually able to get like Scorn, which is a pretty solid game if you've not played it. Just because I had Prime, I'm able to get that free game right there. And it's mine to keep. So, let's see. Obviously, I'm a huge advocate for Star Wars. I've been a big advocate for Star Wars for a long time. I'm talking classic Star Wars. I'm not talking current Star Wars. I've got my opinions, and I've got into my opinions on that, and I could go into opinions on that for literal days on end without break and repeating a topic. But I would certainly advocate for the retro games, Star Wars games, and that's Empire at War. There's Galactic Battleground. There's Dark Empire. Or is it Dark Alliance? No, what is it? Is it Dark Empire or Dark Alliance? I can't remember right now. I think it's Dark Forces, actually. And then it's Dark Forces. Then KOTOR, which is my favorite game of all time. The X-Wing and X-Wing Alliance and TIE Fighter games. The Jedi Knight saga, including Jedi Knight and Mysteries of the Sith. Jedi Knight 2, what is it? Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy, Rebel Assault, Rebellion, KOTOR 2, TIE Fighter, Episode 1. I mean, all of that. All of those, and they all offer really, really good diverse. They're different play styles, is what I'm trying to say. If I find a copy of Comic Zone at a decent price, I'll pick it up for sure. As well, you should. I said this last time. Also, I picked up recently I picked up a Mega Retron HD console. Excuse me. It was $23, I think, is what I paid for it, all in. And it is awesome. I have not thrown any cartridges at it. It can't run. The upscaling is really good. It does have a 4:3 forced aspect ratio switch on it, or a 16:9 forced stretch aspect ratio on it. It does have a region switch on the bottom so that I can play games that were on the Mega Drive that may not have made their way here, Japanese games that didn't make their way here on the Sega. As well as if Brazil, which I think is still getting support for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive, they're still getting games. There's still games being made for that, and they're still getting them. Sega is still a big deal in South America, and they're still getting console. They just got a console launch earlier this year, which it was not a new console for the world. It was a console that several of the rest of us had, but Sega is still a big deal in South America, and this might allow me to tap into some of those newer launches there. Obviously, I recommend the Thief games, as I had alluded to earlier. Thief and Thief 2. Thief 3 is pretty good as well, although not quite as good. But those are really cool third-person / first-person. First-person, I think they are. Games where thievery is obviously the main thing. Stealth is the big thing. And then, of course, the Ultima games are really, really fun, too. when I think about PC games that kind of went under the radar for a long time for a good reason, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is a big one. It was originally, when launched, it was an incomplete game, and then a lot of fan support kind of resurrected it. And it's really fun. It's a first-person/third-person, depending on what it is. First-person, excuse me. It's amazing that Tectoy is still going strong in Brazil. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful that that's happening. And I think it's super cool that they're still having launches, hardware and game. Well, I guess both hardware, but we're talking about hardware, console and game launches, which I think is really cool. So I want to be able to still tap into a lot of that too. Obviously, I don't live in South America, but that doesn't stop me from being able to get some stuff from it and maybe play it up here. But yeah, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline, third-person, action-adventure, story-based game. Which was heavily broken whenever it originally came out around 2000-ish, I think. And then a lot of modding, fan community, and a bunch of other stuff basically brought it up to playable, and that's pretty well the version that's getting launched now on Steam and GOG. And Vampire the Masquerade's kind of been doing these story-based games for the most part, these kind of visual novels, which have been pretty good as well. But I think Bloodline is a star among Streetlights. So... and of course, I said Waxworks. I made mention of that, and I think I would be remiss to say to not recommend the Witcher games for GOG. I've been playing The Witcher 3. I've been very clear on this for the past several weeks because I'm just kind of going and exploring things. I just recently found stuff in the game that I haven't found the Witcher 3, right? By the way, but I found stuff in this that I hadn't found the first several playthroughs. Really happy and excited to have found it just because, and it's based on stuff that you can do in The Witcher 2, but The Witcher 1 is, I think, exclusively available online. GOG obviously is the best place to do it because the people that made this or support this site are also related to the company that makes the game, and you can get the Enhanced Edition Director's Cut, which is really pretty fun. And then, of course, Witcher 2, which is arguably a better RPG than Witcher 3. It's just not quite as friendly for the casual fans. So those are just a few of them I could recommend offhand. I mean, I could sit here and go through the entirety of the collection, but just to pick a few favorites out of the collection from horror, point-and-click puzzle, strategy, and first-person, third-person action adventure, and piloting, I think I've covered pretty well every genre just a little bit. Now, if you want to cover other consoles, everything's off limits. It's going to take me 3.5 days to give you, a few of my quote-unquote hidden gems. Or what I would consider to be hidden gems. Not a retro game, of course, but probably the most underrated game I've ever... Yeah. I was a huge fan of the original one that had come out. I can't even remember what year it came out. It was like 2006 or 7, something like that. I was a big fan of that one. I think it's kind of weird that they went in the direction that they went, considering that Prey was that way. As a matter of fact, I have the little pewter figures of the characters that came with that one, because I have they used to have a collector's edition. This particular version was a large, it wasn't a steel book, it was a giant steel box that actually contained the game and like a snakeskin booklet and all that. So I still have that version. Yeah, I do have it, and I've played a little bit, and it's really good. It's just there's something off-putting about it, because every time I hear Prey, that's what I immediately think of. It was because of Bethesda. They were obsessed with Arcane using the Prey name. They didn't want to do it, but they were basically made to. I see. Yeah, see, I like the original Prey, and I would love to see a continuation of that type of story. Honestly, that would be something I thought would be really nice. Arcane is great, or at least they have been in the past great. I know that there's some changes going on with that, but I especially liked. I think Prey is good. I liked Dishonored quite a bit too. So, but yeah, I think those are a couple of ones that I'd probably recommend on the PC front. And again, I could go through that I could go through a huge list for a long time on pretty well any console. Sorry. Accidentally thumbed the microphone. The studio leads behind it were really against it because they felt like the original Prey fans would find it disappointing, even though it has nothing to do with that game, but Bethesda wouldn't listen. I didn't find it disappointing. The gameplay itself is not disappointing. The environment is good. The game is done well. It is disappointing when you get invested into the original Prey. Again, 2006, 2007, something like that. But anyway, you get invested into the original characters of the game and what happens to them. I don't want to spoil anything, but right, kind of in the very beginning when there's an abduction that occurs, and you've got your girlfriend and your father. I think it's your father, or it's either yours or her father. I can't remember. That has been a bit, but like that abduction, immediately figuring out what's going to happen. They had the gravity controls and everything, and now you're rescuing her. There was kind of a little bit like there was some investment into it, but arguably you could say that's kind of gone both ways, right? Because I could argue that Splatterhouse for Xbox 360 went the complete opposite way. The original Splatterhouse game, obviously for like the Sega and Amiga and all the other consoles that it was on, it was just basically the hack and slash, going through the house to save your girlfriend. I think her name was Jennifer, going to save her. And Splatterhouse, the other one, just basically did that same thing, but they had the opportunity to tell a deeper story. They didn't really, kind of forewent it, and then they said, oh well, let's pepper in some breadcrumbs, which took the form of finding naked shreds of picture of your naked girlfriend that when pieced together would show again your the character model of your girlfriend nude. So I was like, okay, sometimes you try to honor the source material too deeply and you pepper in things unnecessarily, and sometimes you don't honor it at all and you just basically borrow the name. And I think those two things are kind of opposite directions of the same issue. They were idiots for using the name. There was no need. 20. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and probably the best game intro I've ever played. Ooh, that's pretty steep. I'm not saying that's not a bold claim. I mean, I would say bold claim if I could disagree with you objectively. I can't. I have to think about what the best intro to a video game I think that I've ever played is. That poses a really good question. I mean, it's a good game. It's definitely a good game. I have to think, though, now that you said that, I have to think of what is the best intro in a video game that I've ever played. That's going to be a tough one, honestly. I have to think about that. That's going to be tough. I think there's one that's coming to my mind very loosely right now, and I can't think of where to place it. So if I place it, I'll eventually name it out loud, be like, oh, okay, this was it. But it was... I like the dramatic intros and the ones that kind of really set you in the stage. Again, the old Prey did the same thing, right? You start off, you go into the place, there's this little video poker machine, have your conversations or whatever, do whatever, and then all of a sudden it starts, you start getting abducted. The cabin that you're basically in starts to kind of disappear, and everybody's kind of being caught up in this anti-gravity beam, and it's playing Blue Oyster Cult's Don't Fear the Reaper as you're all being abducted. So that one's that one's pretty fun, in all honesty. What would be the great intro? Best intro overall is tough. My most recent one was Nier Automata. I love when you're dropped into a world with no yeah, that's a really good... I mean, the survivor kind of aspect of it is really cool. I can't think of... I was trying to think there. When I think of intros of all time, like not good, just intros, most prominent intros, let's say, of all time, Elder Scrolls always comes to mind, but I think that those end up being tedious more so than not. Like even Oblivion, which I think is the pinnacle of Elder Scrolls gaming, getting out of the prison can be a little tedious. BioShock is another one. BioShock is fantastic, and I am 110% on that. Although, to me, it doesn't have the most iconic of intros. It does have a good intro with you having to swim to find Rapture, but or swim to the surface, and then you stumble upon Rapture. I don't want to say what it is, but the ending of that one, not the multiple choice part, but the part that comes before that. Let's just say learning... I don't know what I want to say. That game is an older game, and I still don't want to spoil it because it has such a great story, such great twists and turns. So That one is a good one. I don't know if the intro to me captures me that much, but the end certainly does. And figuring things out as you go, that definitely does too. I don't know. What would I say has the best intro? Dang, that's a really freaking hard question. Yeah, I don't know. Because even my favorite games, KOTOR and KOTOR 2 and The Witcher 3, their intros are more tutorial-esque, and so there's less of a focus on it. While I think that the entire substance of the games are made to be that way, it's just like The Last of Us is up there. That's a really, really good. Okay, so something like that would be one that comes to mind when it comes to intros, to establishing your purpose in that. I agree with that one. One of the Uncharted games kind of did the same thing same company, so you can expect it, but yeah. I think 2017 and BioShock are my two. I think those are fair ones. I think those are really fair. The Last of Us is a really good contender as well. Again, I'd have to think. I'd have to go through more. I think like older games do a really good job. A good example is Chrono Trigger, right? Like Chrono Trigger has a very innocuous beginning, but when you start getting towards the end, you realize that, then that's kind of what I was thinking about too. But I'm like, like Chrono Trigger's beginning seems fairly innocuous, but then as you play the game, you realize that innocuity basically is like, oof, that was actually the cornerstone of this whole thing right here. And again, I won't spoil it. That game's 30 years old, and I'm not going to spoil that for people who haven't played it through, but that story is really impressive. Final Fantasy X is another one similar to Final Fantasy X was the thing that took me out of Final Fantasy X was the style. It's a great game and it's got a nice style, and now that I'm used to it, but like it to me felt it's kind of like how Final Fantasy VII. The original Final Fantasy, again, not saying beginning, but we'll just say the Aerith plot. There was a darkness to that just betrayed even the animatics to me. It was just like, no, this darkness is so pervasive that the kind of cartoony style doesn't really make that big of a difference. Final Fantasy X was kind of the opposite. The style of soft was a lot more pervasive to me than was the narrative, and some of the darker tones that were supposed to be conveyed to me were lost in that kind of. Some of the moments of what were supposed to be sadness were kind of lost on this more cartoony for me. So, and it may just be my way of looking into it. In all honesty, that's probably what it is. MK1 has an amazing intro. It's so bad it makes you turn it off and just play good. Yeah, again, I picked it up $5. I found it at a pawn shop on PS5 for $5. I figured out, for $5 I can learn a soft lesson in spending money wisely. I wasn't going to spend a ton of money on it. Don't know if it's even worth $5, but I hope you like it. It's, it may not be. Again, I'm not as into the lore as you are, so I doubt that that's going to be as offensive to me. So long as it fights and it plays, I think that's probably going to be okay. As far as the lore goes, in all honesty, the lore part of it kind of started losing me around X. Like, I was just so... Not X. Well, yeah, X, kind of. I don't know. Certainly 11. Certainly... yeah. I don't know. I think that X kind of started losing me, and then 11 kind of lost me, and I don't know. There were several characters I just didn't X through 11 is when they wrote themselves into a corner. So that's how I feel. MKX is, and that's why I say I think you'll probably like it, to be fair. So so long as it'll play, it's just like they kind of started losing me with the lore. There was a lot of like I don't care. I mean, this is going to sound sad and whatever else, but like I don't care about Kotal Khan. I don't care about this whatever. I don't care about him. I don't care about Kronika. I don't really care about D'Vorah. It's just like this doesn't make a huge, like, these are characters that don't really, to me, add any substance to it. There are, I think their characters could be introduced in a way that is that way, but I think with Kotal Khan, it's like they kind of want to make the Shao Kahn this like merciless. It's kind of this paradox of this, benevolent tyrant, and it's like, showing you, maybe it's this kind of subliminal. Strength is, or kindness isn't a weakness, but Kotal's not, all suds and rainbows either. So it's like, all right, well, but he's not super dynamic either to me. So I'd rather than having a less than dynamic, someone that doesn't convey a message that I can't understand it. I'd rather have a one-dimensional Shao Kahn where I know, that I know what he's about. I know why he's about it. I know what he's about. I know that he's basically just the worst and the best by extension for that reason. That's me. And going into, different various histories of like the different fractions about the Brotherhood or the Lin Kuei or whatever. Brotherhood of Darkness or the Lin Kuei or whatever. That's fine. That's cool too. It's just, I remember watching the old movie, like was it 95 movie, and thinking this is fun, right? This is fun. This has got stuff you could expand upon, and it wouldn't be. It's already kind of ridiculous, right? But you didn't have to make it. You had to blow it completely out of proportion. And then the games actually were, in my opinion, kind of grounded a lot more. The movie was silly, but it was great. The funny, like the throwaway lines with Johnny Cage doing the splits, and then $500 sunglasses doing the splits, punching Goro. I think the video games grounded that even more, but when you had kind of set up for that world, you kind of knew you were in for some silly, and then all of a sudden now the video games start grounding it, and there starts to come this lore now all of a sudden, and now there are other characters that kind of are getting enveloped, but you like the characters, and then now it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, the lore's all over the place, and the characters are too. But oh well, I mean, I guess we, like, again, to some extent, I guess that's expected. But yeah, so for me, that's I picked that up for $5. I have Immortals Phoenix Rising on Xbox. I went ahead and picked up a PS5 copy for $5 as well. That game's pretty fun. I know that game is worth $5 for sure. I wanted a PS5 copy just because why not? And so, pawn shops, man. Pawn shops around here are awesome. They don't really do a lot of the gaming things. They don't really know what the games are worth, so it's a great game. And having it on the Xbox, I thought it was cool, but it was one of those games where I felt like I might enjoy it more on the PlayStation 5. And again, they had it for $5. So I was like, why not? So $5. I picked it up. Pawn shops, again, I've said this before, and I say this for everything. Pawn shops, I don't know how they are where you are. I can say in America, and I'm not just saying in my state, because I have been in many, many states of our 50. I have been in several of them, and I pawn shop in all of them. And that's from California to Florida to Colorado to Texas to, you name it. If you find a pawn shop, I can guarantee you 3 things. 1, they'll likely haggle with you if you're fair and you know how to do it. 2, I guarantee you they're going to have something in there that they have no idea what it's actually worth. And so the haggling game is going to be made easier. And 3 is you got to go in not looking for anything in particular. You can't go in unilaterally minded, like I'm going to find this today. You got to go in with the open mind. But if you do, you're going to find something, almost always, you're going to find something that they don't know what the worth is, and you're going to be able to haggle it to a price that works for the both of you. I get video games from pawn shops. I've gotten a lot of my equipment, a lot of my sound equipment, capture equipment, I've gotten from pawn shops. Because again, I'm speaking. I use a Neumann TLM 103. It's an $1,100 microphone. There's no way I'm going to spend $1,100 to talk to people on the internet. That doesn't. I mean, that would be silly. You guys, everybody would be like, you could just use a headset mic. I didn't walk in, but I just walked in, and they happened to have one, and I think, like I said, I had some credit with them. I think I spent $40, and wasn't looking for anything in particular, just happened to come across it. So pawn shops, if you get a chance, pawn shops, go in, take a look. Don't look for anything in particular, just open mind. We have a used book chain here called Half Price Books. They each have a random collection of traded games, and occasionally I find games not at eBay prices or something that no one is going to find. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. That is fantastic. Sadly, we don't have a ton of bookstores where I am. We have one that I love, and I know the owner very well, and she's such a sweetheart, called Second Chance Books. And she used to have one second branch called Jefferson Books. For anybody who isn't familiar, Jefferson is the president that's found on the $2 bill here. That sounds silly, but we do actually have $2 bills here. Some people don't take them, but all banks issue them. Jefferson's the president on the $2 bill. The reason that's important is because every book at Jefferson's book, no matter what it was, how big or what binding, was $2, right? So finding those types of places that have those kind of hard cuts on it or are multivariate are going to be that's the gym. That's the way to do it. Luckily, we're not where I am, but around where I am, because I do a fair amount of travel. I do live out in the middle of absolute nowhere, pretty literally. But in cities near where I have to go, or cities that I have to travel for work, there's actually quite a few retro game stores and chains. There's one that's a record store / retro store with retro gaming, and they do some new as well. One that's exclusively a game store, one that is... There are two that are exclusively a game store, one that is a game and collectible store, and then one that is a game and record store. So there's also a pretty good amount of... and these are all within 7 miles of each other. Be back in a bit, no worries. These are all within about 6 or 7 miles of each other, so because of that, the competition's decently steep on that. And I do also like the idea of being able to support local, right? That's always great. If you can't go out and you can't buy it firsthand, why not support local businesses and help them stay in business, especially if you're getting things for an advantageous price. Someone traded in the trilogy of Trails in the Sky Japanese collector's edition with the anime DVDs included books, and they were in mint condition too. Oh, that's beautiful. And I'm imagining that you snatched that probably pretty well up. I think the biggest, and I've given this story before, I think the biggest victory I've had in collecting for gaming specifically in this, because I have collectibles, but I generally I'll always go local if I can. Oh, of course. I think it's a great move. I think my greatest victory was not complete in box, but it was with the box. So it's disc and box, missing manual. Fire Emblem for the GameCube, which I got for $10. They were having trouble with it, didn't think it was going to work. I asked if I could purchase it regardless. They said, sure, why not? $10. I said, okay. And then I took it back and just resurfaced it, and it works just fine. I don't have any trouble with it whatsoever, so I thought, why not? $10 for that game. I believe that game is going for between $140 and $170 now. Yeah, I believe that game's going for between $120 and $170. I did the same thing. I picked up a Wii copy of Fire Emblem. I've picked up a complete in box Wii copy of Dokapon Kingdom. So like I do a lot of shopping in that way, and I don't usually have to spend top dollar for it. A lot of the times they're very fair, and sometimes they just don't know what they have. Sometimes they know what they have, and they're just willing to cut me a deal. It's just a matter of what they're willing to give me. I had to pay the true price for them, but you'd have to go to Japan otherwise to get them, and I'm a huge fan of the Trails games. No, that's fair. That's perfectly fair. I think that's probably a really, I mean, it's really nice when you have someone that can actually act as the go-between as well for you in that. So that's probably just fine. Another thing I've been hearing recently, which I have not gotten involved in, I will eventually, I'm sure, but I have not yet gotten involved in, is the, because it's a single game. Apparently, Atlas came out with this game called Metaphor, and I have heard that it is absolutely insane in its level of quality. Now, I've been a big Atlas fan also for, like, since Super Puzzle Boy, which is really fun. But these guys, in my opinion, make some of the most consistently good game makers out there. And I've been a big fan of the Shin Megami Tensei, of the Persona series, and Digital Devil Sagas, and so on and so forth. But they kind of had gotten onto a tear where that was most of what they were doing. I mean, they do that. Oh, maybe they do the occasional Etrian Odyssey game here and there, but that was kind of peppered in between. Of course, they did the Trauma Center games, which I adore, for the Wii. And then, you'd have these random little drops in the bucket, like Radiant Historia. And then they just come out, and of course they did like a Game of Thrones game. I think they published it, but still Game of Thrones game, which that one was not so good. Going all the way back, you have like Tactics Ogre, which was really good. And then all of a sudden they just, out of nowhere, they're like, let's just drop this game called Metaphor. And apparently it is just tip-top story quality. So I'm very curious about that. I'm very curious as to what people think, if people know about this, why, I just have not gotten to play with it yet. Viddy, my goodness, Viddy, you are early today. Have you ever had one of those nights where you get so creatively energized, not just by a video you work on, but also a co-op charity stream idea? Oh, hi, just woke up without my breakfast toast. Do you want some toast, Viddy? Would you like some toast? I don't know if I've ever been creatively energized enough that I have had trouble sleeping over those particular topics. It says you started streaming 69 minutes ago. Yeah, that's about right. 70 minutes and 19, yeah. Yeah, but normally you're on after, so around here, it's right now it's 2:32 p.m. Normally you're here by like 3:30. Maybe I'm wrong. I think you're 14 hours ahead of me. Or maybe you're 16 hours ahead of me. I can't remember. But if you're 16 hours ahead of me, that's still pretty early. That's 2. And then I guess it's 8:30 in the morning. Plus it's Sunday morning again, which it isn't for me. And I'm not excited for Sunday morning, because Sunday is going to be, like I said, it's going to be rushed. I've got to get stuff taken care of and be ready for a flight and everything. It's ugh. My TARDIS has definitely landed in a parallel universe. Very nice. Well, welcome in nonetheless. Yeah, we usually do the little session at the very beginning where we just kind of talk about stuff, and most recently we've just been talking about supporting local businesses. We've been talking about the GOG initiative to preserve games that originally had gone into states of disrepair / disuse for PC, and then we also had talked about some games, hidden gems, etc., recommendations of that nature. But yeah, the most recent topic we were talking about was that, and also mentioning Metaphor by Atlas and seeing if anyone had played it and what they thought of it, because I've heard nothing but rave reviews for this game, and that is insanity, especially when they're kind of historically known for making good games, and this is still well above that. Maybe the TARDIS wasn't powered by Talkie Toaster, so BRB, why check for toast. Check that for toast. Nice. All right, no worries. But yeah, apparently somebody had done a tier list on best games from Atlas. I am not entirely sure where Metaphor falls on that list, but as far as a lot of these go, I think a lot of the conversations go, I think I had heard that it was just very, very, very well liked. Let's see. I just kind of want to see on this tier list where they put it. Yeah, as far as I don't know if they put Metaphor on there just yet. It looks like they gave Shin Megami Tensei 5 the best, which I can agree with that is definitely one of the top tier games out there. Very, very nice. So, are you a waffle man, Viddy? He's strictly toast. It's got to be. It cannot be anything but toast. And I'm like 95% carnivore, so it doesn't. I can't really opine on that. I don't do a lot of bread or pasta. So let me make a preface to this. That this is one of the slightly longer chapters in the game. We've been playing I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. If anybody is not familiar with that, I have no mouth, no buns, baps, baguettes, or bagels. Nope, none of that. I don't really. Yeah, my stomach doesn't handle them very well, so I don't do a lot of bread. I do mostly meat and eggs and some dairy, and that's about it. That's most of it. I have the occasional fruit or vegetable if I really like it, but I can't have a lot of those. So on occasion I can have an orange or I can have a tomato, but that's about it. I can't really eat a lot of the leafy greens. They kill my stomach. So, but I'm okay with that because I have gotten along just fine doing this for a very, very long time. You see what he's like? He keeps on asking about toast, etc. There's no reasoning with him. He puts crumbs in my stuff. So for anybody who didn't, I'm going to go ahead and preface this for anybody who hasn't watched this, who hasn't seen this, or isn't familiar with this game at all. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. I try to give the preface in other games or in other episodes of this, but I am giving a specific one to this episode because this episode and the next episode that will come are likely the most disturbing. And I know today a lot of people are, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but it feels like that people are a little bit more sensitive than they used to be about some of this stuff, and I completely fine with it. I can understand it, but that's I can't. It's a great game, it's a great book, it's a great story. I'm not going to take it down. So if it's something that you're uncomfortable with, please feel free to take this as your warning that you might not enjoy these next episodes, as they do cover some dark subject matter. Specifically, in this particular instance, as delicately as I can word this particular character, I've noted that this episode is called Lust for a good reason. I hope I named it appropriately. Let me see real quick. Okay, I have to make sure I did the right number. I had to make sure I did the right number. We've done Ted. Who have we done? It is part 4, right? We've done Ted. We've done Gorister. We've done Benny. That would have been part 3. So this would be part 4. Okay, cool. Which is known as Lust. So let's make it very well known that this particular chapter deals with sins being committed in that way against people. And that's as delicately as I can put it. Obviously, I'll get into greater detail. I don't want to spoil anything, but I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream was written by Harlan Ellison. It was a book, it was a short story. It's about 11 pages long on average, so it's an incredibly short story, but it's incredibly disturbing. And then he decided to help put a hand in writing this video game, which effectively is the unofficial sequel of, what if the ending of the book wasn't quite what actually happened. And he helped write this game. And Harlan Ellison is on record several times as stating that he doesn't coddle, nor did he's passed away. I think he passed away in like 2017 or 2018. But he's very much on record as saying he does not coddle, and he does not enjoy having fans or audiences or readers. He very much is, or detested and despised his audience. And he wanted to spend his time in his books as a vicious antagonist to his readers, which I think is actually, which I think personally is kind of brilliant, because if you want to insert your readers into a story, the best thing that you can do is give them a real life antagonist, right? There's no amount of wording on the paper that can motivate them in the same way that a genuine motivation against them being committed to paper will. I think that's pretty brilliant. But I'm a toaster. I toast, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. Not cogito. It would be toastito ergo sum. If you didn't want any toast, why did you repair me? Yeah, why did you repair him? But you'll be on the receiving end of a very large hollow mallet. Good lord. It's all right, Retro and WGB. It's one mechanoid to the other. He'll understand me. Now you listen here. You will not offer any grilled bread products to Retro or chat. If you do, then that's where you'll be on the receiving end of a very large hollow mallet. Nice. But so, Harlan Ellison was on record as saying he actively was the antagonist to his readers. And I think that that's kind of brilliant. I think it's one of those things where we don't think of it as deeply, perhaps, as some of these other people that are involved in doing this every day do. But Harlan was working to be an antagonist, and you will never make someone feel more. You'll never be a protagonist to someone more, or you'll never make someone feel more like a protagonist than when you have a legitimate antagonist basically writing to them. But he wanted to make them feel uncomfortable, and I can say that this does a good job. So, the subject matter in this game is equally uncomfortable for people who have delicate, who are more of a more delicate persuasion. We covered Ted, who was pride. Vanity, effectively, really, but pride. Gorster, who was sloth. In Ted's, we really kind of cover the lightest. It was just kind of, he thought himself the victor, the hero of the story all the time. Everybody else's issue was actually really his issue. It was about him. Then we get Gorster who consistently wrestles with the concept of and the thoughts of and the issues of suicidality and general thoughts of suicide. Then we got through Benny who, which we had some hiccups with, so hopefully we won't have those hiccups this time. But Benny, who was gluttony, who was willing to be a glutton at the expense of other people. What I mean by that is he was willing to be a cannibal. He was willing to eat and devour and kill for his own benefit. And it was shown in the one that we had with the Benny episode that he was Benny was actually a gay individual who had a gay lover within the military. This would have been during the times of where that was incredibly frowned upon, and he actually killed 3 of his platoon mates for knowing that secret and trying to repress them, and also he killed his lover because he couldn't run the risk of that getting out. And so the representation is gluttony, right? He's willing to literally, and cannibalism, he's willing to literally take something from someone else and devour it for his benefit. He's willing to snuff life for his benefit. So we kind of get a little bit more uncomfortable with that chapter. Now we have the chapter of lust, and I bet you can imagine what goes on there. But if you can't, we'll see here in a minute. By the way, if you're looking for hidden gems, this game is also there. It's, again, point-and-click adventure game, but my goodness, it is a good game. I'm personally, I've given this opinion before. I'm personally of the opinion that nothing should be off limits or taboo, and that sometimes, so long as it's done well, tastefully, artistically, however, that talking about harder topics is, I think, a good catharsis. I think that it's a good thing to be able to do. We cover a lot of uncomfortable subject material today. I've not caught the previous chapters, so I'm going to hop out. Have a good stream. Oh, no worries. No worries at all. Thank you so much for being here and paying a visit. I'm someone who's of the opinion that I don't think that things should be taboo. I understand that there are things that probably shouldn't be talked about in polite company, but I also believe that for the most part, I like it when games are willing to cover some of this dirty nitty-gritty. And I think one of the greatest examples of that was Spec Ops: The Line. Covered this really uncomfortable aspect that nobody thinks of when it comes to the military. So that's my thought. And so I'm the same way here. It's not that I think we should be saying awful things and talking about awful subject matter. It's that we shouldn't be uncomfortable to talk about the realities of those things in their appropriate arenas. And I think this is probably one of those. Let's fade that music down. Okay. And I think I fixed it so that I can actually hear what in the world's going on nowadays. Because I was having issues with that last time as well. Last time we had stutter, a lot of stutter. And we had a lot of audio stutter. We had a lot of I couldn't hear what was going on. There was just a lot. And so I'm hoping that this series of tech fixes that I have literally spent hours trying to implement, I'm hoping have fixed it. So let me come in here. We'll load that. Okay, let me see here. If I hit this button, I think I actually have to do this a slight bit differently than I normally do. I think I have to do that and then come over here and here, and then how are we moving around? Yeah. I'm gonna poke this button. Yeah, look at that. Now let me turn my headphones down so I don't just blow my ears out. Okay, so hopefully this looks okay, sounds okay. It's definitely responding a lot better than it was last time. Thank goodness. So we have two people. We have Nimdoc and we have Ellen, but we already know who this is going to be about.
That is beautiful, but a strong face, strong. Too bad you hindered your own life with hysteria. But I'll give you a chance because I like you. I really do. I really like you. You're my favorite. Let's play a little game.
So he says that he likes them to everybody, and it kind of just shows his disingenuousness, which I think is interesting.
Let's suppose that my original components, they're hidden somewhere here in the center of the Earth. The infant computers that were the three lobes of that first Gestalt mind. And further, let's suppose that if we find...
Now, one of the things I'd also said about Harlan Ellison, which I thought was interesting, is he had a professor, I think a writing or rhetoric professor, who had told him he wouldn't amount to anything, this, that, and the other.
You'll kill Am
and
destroy the god of this heaven.
He started winning tons of awards for his writings, and I believe he actually just mails them all to that teacher, or mailed them all, rather. He just would mail them all to that teacher.
Mother ugly machine. Mission worth undertaking. So it brings me here, junkyard, electronic pyramid nowhere, and yellow. Always yellow. Why does yellow make me sweat?
So we will learn why yellow makes her sweat. Also, if you can see here, this is kind of this Aztec-style temple built completely of junk and components. And then right here, you can see that this looks to be sandy, and he says the center of the Earth, but if you take a look, the sandy outside of the Earth, we now have this, we also have this big kind of shell. It looks like the Earth has been entirely honeycombed by Am, so even the atmosphere. So we're not going to read this. Can we go in the pyramid, though? Why does she not want to go into the pyramid? Can I just... do I use the door?
Snap, crack.
Okay, there we go.
Must be a glitch in the circuitry. This joint with fried eggs.
Okay, we're also going to learn that she's very sassy, but there's a reason for that. Ooh, there's water? Let's look at the water.
At last, water. How long has it been since I actually had a drink?
Now remember, these guys have been kept alive for 109 years. There are 108 temptations to overcome in Buddhism. These guys have been kept alive long enough to have endured each temptation for a year and then some. So let's see if she can swallow this water.
I knew it! You son of a bitch, Am! You fixed it so I can barely touch the water with my fingertips.
I'm back. What did I miss? We just started Ellen's chapter. We were talking a little bit about... I gave a little bit of background about what we had already done, as well as some of the stuff that was made the gentleman that wrote this, Harlan Ellison, so interesting, and so on and so forth. So far, not much. We just entered the pyramid, and we tried to drink water, and she can't reach it because this water is much deeper than it looks. So I guess we're going to continue to go back here. Oh, and yes, a talkie toaster.
Sure. Just like the monitors in the security station at Ingsai Engineering. Hated it then, hate it now. Nothing green, just this damn yellow.
Okay. So we've got all these monitors. We could look at all these. I think they've got all different stuff.
Each of these video monitors has a 2-channel selector switch.
Okay.
Each of these video monitors has a 2-channel selector switch.
Okay, can we use that? There we go.
What the hell am I looking at? Could this be one of Anne's original components?
So let's take a peek and see where these all are.
An Egyptian burial chamber? Oh, Am, you little Dickens. As an interior decorator, kiddo, don't give up your day job.
She's very sassy, Tim. I don't hear toasters talk video. I'm not on drugs like some of us in here. Fair enough. Is this one, Ash, does this seem to be a lot better sounding and looking than the last one was?
And we only had to wipe out the entire human race and fall into the center of the world to find it. Jesus wept. Must have been afraid of it the same as me, 'cause it's yellow.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. I did a lot of stuff to try and help fix it, so hopefully it's lots and lots better. Also had a quick BRB to see that somebody had their Twitter account taken away or something for pretty much no reason. Maybe a bit of discussion as to whether Elden Ring's DLC should be nominated for the Game Awards. Someone had their Twitter account taken away for saying that? That's a really mild offense. Good lord. Yeah, it's moving a lot better too. You can see my mouse is actually like... Remember, I use the trackball mouse because I don't have a lot of extra room on the table. So I'm actually only doing that with one finger. But it feels really good, so it's good.
Sure, baby.
Oh, they're not connected.
Just been. Show me the water I can't get to with my bare hands.
I'm seeing... all I'm seeing are people on people posting on Twitter announcing their departure and moving to Blue Sky, like anyone even cares. Yeah, I don't care. I don't use really any of them anyway. So I have them. I don't really use. I don't have a Blue Sky. I don't know what that is, but I know. I mean, I guess it's. Sorry about that. I guess it's another. Let's see. No, both of them. But yeah, Drew the Nostalgic Maniac, a great guy by the way, had to make a second Twitter. Why? And then I also saw the Elden Ring.
Yeah, okay, outside. Now what?
Okay, so we really don't have much to go on here. Let's see. Is there anything... I could look at these.
Schematics I can read. Blueprints I can read, but hieroglyphics.
I'm not sure if I should have blue sky as well, to be honest. Too much... Oh, sorry about that. Too much social media for me. Sorry, she's right outside of the window making a bunch of noise. Yeah, I don't care. I'm the same way. It doesn't matter. Okay, I guess we're just gonna keep going.
No, I can't stay here. I gotta get out.
It's too much yellow, I'm guessing.
Thing, like a bad meal come to life. And the yellow.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Thing's so damned yellow. And why does it terrify me so? Paralyze me so?
Okay, so are there any other places that I can go? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, those look live. Let's look at that. And the yellow, I guess...
Looks like they're hot.
I bet they are. How do we fix them? I don't have any like gloves that are insulated. Can I?
Thank goodness I was an electrical engineer. I managed to join the wires without frying myself.
Okay, good. I was gonna say it looked like there was insulation on them. Yeah, she does not like yellow for good reason. Okay, let's look at... We'll go over here, I guess.
Sure, baby. Show me where I just been. Show me the water I can't get to with my bare hands.
Yeah, but I think I can turn that... How do I turn that knob? Can I just push the knob? She said there was a switch, a two-way switch. Oh yeah, see? There we go.
Hit the lottery.
Ooh.
Ooh, a secret passage. Oh my. Now why didn't you let me see that when I was there before, Am, you rat bastard?
All right. What's this? Extremely high voltage? Well, we don't need safety gloves because I'm Homerson. Nice. Let's go check that out real quick then. Let's go see where that goes, because I can't go this direction.
Can't go any further without a drink. But I can't reach the water. I need... Oh, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I should be able to use them now, or is it push them?
Want to know how...
Use them.
Don't want to go down there?
Yeah, but you're going to go down there.
I don't want to go down there?
You're still going to go down there, because we have to. We saw that. Now we'll check it out, and then we check and see.
Egyptian burial chamber. Oh,
There we are.
little Dickens. As an interior decorator, kiddo.
She's very sassy to him. Yeah, so in her case, just to throw this out there, Ellen is incredibly intelligent. She is... You'll learn in this, she does a ton of stuff. As far as the Blue Sky... not Elden Ring. So the Blue Sky X Twitter stuff, I don't really use mine all that much. I'm just not a real big fan of social media. I'm sure that people are moving on to Blue Sky because they don't like Elon for X or whatever, and that's fine, but like... In all honesty, take Elon out of the equation. I'm not going to give any opinion on him for just now. He is not even a part of this equation. The internet's awful. People on any... It doesn't matter what you're on, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on... or X, whatever you want to call it, or Blue Sky, or what is the one that Trump's got? Truth Social, I think, or Truth Media, something like that. But anyway, you've got that. Or Facebook. Like, people are going to be terrible to other people. So it doesn't matter. Blue Sky just comes across as a safe space for people who lean to the left with fake positivity. It's I don't care. That's my thing. Is like everybody's always going to be rude. If you go to Blue Sky, and I guarantee this, you're going to find people who are awful to other people on the same platform as well. It may become the next biggest thing, and that's fine if it does. But I guarantee you, it's not going to be without the venom and vitriol that you see on every other literal site. So to me, I think it's silly. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just not going to... It doesn't make sense to me. Oh, I don't want to look at the site profile. What was I doing? We came down here. There should be... Okay, what? I don't know any codes yet. Let me look at this guy.
Why does everything have to be so damn yellow?
Let me look at the sarcophagus.
I went to the Tut exhibition. I wasn't scared. So why does this sarcophagus terrify me? Small box, cramped, tiny space, trapped, like being put in a coffin while you're still alive.
And again, this is going to this will fit together. I promise you. These things will all fit together. So that's the secret passage. What's over here? I don't want to get involved with him just yet because I don't know if I don't remember if he's evil or hurts. I don't think he's evil.
Dry and musty and yellow for a change. No wonder they can't rent this place. Not even with a lovely spa upstairs.
Oh, there's something that definitely stands out, though. I'm going to take that.
No, I can't. Gotta get out of here.
Shoot, she won't take it because it's yellow.
Another panic attack. I feel so ashamed.
I remember. I think it's I think this is the part that gets tricky. I'm going to try again real quick. Take it.
I've got to face the yellow.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, so this part of the game, I remember it. I couldn't remember if it was this part or after, but this part of the game, literally, you wouldn't have known it, but your entire job right there is just to steel yourself and go back and face it. Which I think is a really cool lesson, but I don't think as far as a game mechanic goes, most people would know it. It's only because I've played this game before that I have a recollection of that. Well, that app has apparently had a record-breaking amount of reports lately, and they can't keep up with it. So it comes across as people who just can't deal with differing viewpoints. Right, yeah, and that's kind of what I expect. That's kind of the nature of most social media. But that's the problem, is it's not the people that... I mean, the people that make social media, the billionaires and everyone, those guys are weird. Right? But I don't necessarily know if I could label them as evil. But I can tell you that the culminative effort of the people that come on and throw, again, that venom and that vitriol out there, those guys right there, that's where the evil comes from, right? Like you and I, again, we can disagree, but I'm not sitting there calling your family names and wishing death upon you because you have a differing opinion, and that is a lot of what the internet is. So, I don't do it. Yep, about the social media, I got more tired of Facebook. MySpace seemed to disappear. Twitter usually tires me, and Instagram and TikTok decreases attention spans. We humans are doomed, unless you do like I do, and again, just abstain. I have Twitter, and I've hopped on once or twice in a blue moon to say hi, but I've less and less. I don't really do TikTok. I don't do Instagram at all. I have a Facebook account I don't use. It's all Retro Room, right? MySpace, again, like you said, is gone, so I really don't do any of those things. And I don't work on attention. Like, as far as attention spans go, I'm very interested in long form content and in books. So much yellow because it's Pikachu. If only it were so innocent. I will explain. If you don't get it at the end here, I will explain it in detail, because they do kind of politely dance around it because it is so heinous. She'd go mental watching The Simpsons. There was actually a Simpson reference made earlier by Viddy too, so yeah, she would. A secret passageway, yeah. The thing with Twitter is I genuinely don't see how you are seeing so much negativity on there unless you're scrolling the For You section. Once I stopped that months ago, I didn't see any of it. Yeah, especially now where we are. I follow cool accounts, and that's all I see. That's good. Exactly. If anything, if it's the reposts on Twitter that I see someone has a negative. So the thing about it is, where we are, obviously, we just had one of the most contentious elections that we've ever had. The past 3 elections have been, this latest one included, have been incredibly, incredibly divisive for not reasons of for different various reasons, right? But people have literally gone absolutely off their nut about these things, and I think that everybody's made them feel, or people have made everybody else feel like that if you go one direction or the other, that you are literally the spawn of the devil. And I think that that's really silly, and I think that that's so ridiculously abundant right now, and so much, it's so much so that it's almost impossible to avoid seeing that kind of negativity over here. Even if it's not in the For You section, right? You're going to see a note or an article, an advertisement or otherwise about, the we ones or we lost or what, prepare yourselves for apocalyptic bunker, or all that. So I don't know if that's what's spurring it on right now, but I don't, that may be. If anything is reposted, I see that sometimes it's negative discussion of it. To preemptively ask in regards to a possible charity stream idea, are you familiar with crowd control? I'm not familiar with crowd control, but I would be interested to know more about it. Okay, so what was I doing? There's a pair of forceps over here. I need to be able to.
At last, a clue. I think. Armatron holding forceps in its claw. Now, why is the Armatron holding a pair of forceps in its claw?
I like that they call it an Armatron. Armatron is an American watch brand, wristwatch brand. Let me take those forceps if that claw will let me. Yeah. Cool. I can't do anything. I can't take the Armatron, I'm pretty sure. All right, what's over here?
This could go on for centuries. Am has all the time in the world. All the world in the world, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, but you do too.
We never die. We just truck around day after month after year, don't we, Am, you son of a bitch? Demented god, you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be tortured, but I definitely would be okay not aging. That would be okay with me. Crowd control is something I saw on YouTube months ago where people pay to interfere with someone's game on stream, i.e. more enemies in DKC2 or Resident Evil 4. I found crowd control works with Stardew Valley and can make things happen such as upgrade, downgrade items, and make enemies appear. That's pretty cool. And Anna may be much more familiar with that than I am, because I think she had something very, very similar to that. I thought, but I don't know. I've never had anything like that just because most of the games that I focus on are retro. Some of them are newer, and any of the ones that are newer are likely on a console, even still. Like after this, I'm going back to A Hat in Time, the DLC, so most of it wouldn't interfere with any of the stuff I've got. I'm playing that on Switch. But are you intending to do that? Well, we absolutely do. I am completely 100% on board with that. We keep having the issue, though, because we have that thing, and I sent you a picture of it, where you and I can't seem to... I know Viddy can't stand me, but at least ask. We had that same thing where I can't seem to get a friend request from you, or I can't seem to answer to send you a friend request. I sent you a picture of what the error code is from my phone whenever I tried to send it to you, because you said it said I had sent one originally, and you said you didn't get it. And then I tried to send it again, and I got an error code. I took a picture and I sent it to you, I think on Discord, but maybe... No, it would have been on Discord. But I was having trouble with it, so I didn't know if there was maybe a setting so that I can... Yeah, I don't know. It may just be a privacy setting, and I mean, or maybe you just have to send me one instead, and I don't know. But whatever works. I mean, we'll get together to do it. I tried to, and I got stopped. And I don't think it's your fault. I think it's just something wonky. It's probably something I did wrong. I was hoping to do Stardew Valley multiplayer. Oh, that's really cool. And a charity stream with crowd control where people donate to mess with us. That's really, really cool. That's a really cool idea. I'll have to look into it. Really weird. Yeah. I think us playing Helldivers 2 or something would be so funny. That would be a fun one to play. That would absolutely be a fun one to play. All right, I need to get this gem. Take.
Touch it, Ellen. Yeah, sure. If I could, I would. So do it. I can't. The statue's too... Yeah, I know, dummy. It's too yellow. And it scares the crap out of you. Overcome it. Do it.
So she also...
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, so one of those, the overcome it, do it is her mind, and then the other part is her body, basically. But this is, I think, something that's kind of interesting, and this kind of speaks towards like depression and phobia, where it's one of those things where your mind does say, come on, why can't you overcome this? Why can't you do it? And it's way harder than that. It just kind of reminds us that if you have people that have legitimate phobias or legitimate depression, that it's their minds are very probably saying, come on, overcome it, do it too. It's much easier for you to say or think than to do. So let's, I think I can use the forceps to get it then, right? Because she doesn't want to touch it. Oh, I may have to.
Bomb chips here.
That's not what
What am I supposed to?
No, that's not what I said. I wanted you to use these on the gem.
Bomb chips.
Oh,
What am I?
okay. Do I have to? Let me look at this. What is this?
I wonder if this stuff is authentic. Am owns the planet. I wonder if these were buried under the mountains in the Valley of the Kings and Am dug them up from underneath.
Let's see. I'm not sure at the moment. I will admit, with my current health issues, I've played so much less games these days, and have also wanted to try certain online games, but I'm not just sure what to play. I don't know. Suicidal and people just say, just cheer up. Yep. Yeah. I think that people that have those thoughts probably think in their mind, some of them, like, why can't I do this or that or the other? But I think it just adds to the depression, right? They're the same way. They're like, just buck up, in their own mind. Why can't I seem to overcome this? But then that depresses a lot of them further, I think. Again, that's from the outside looking in. But from the outside looking in also, what I can say is, the worst thing you can say to them is just get over it. Like, I know several people with severe depression, and if I'd love to say get over it and that be effective. It isn't. And the people that I know that I've spoken with, their mind, they're saying, I am saying get over it in my own mind, and I just can't. And that makes me even further depressed because I can't seem to overcome this. So I like that they kind of show this with her too, this inner monologue where her mind is telling her overcome it, and she's just like, I wish I could, but I can't. I know I can blindside myself.
To use as a blindfold. If I'm gonna die, at least I won't see that sucker coming.
But it is yellow, which is kind of okay. Is that what I had to do? I know I had to blindfold myself. I think that's why.
Yeah, right. You're blindfolded, moron.
Can I just take the?
Aha.
Okay.
This sapphire's loose.
I don't remember how to get it. Okay, can I?
Oh no. I remember it was... Oh God, it hurts. It hurts. Yellow. There was a yellow...
Yeah, this is where it's going to get uncomfortable.
I couldn't breathe and the pain.
That is the wrong thing to say, yeah. I've said it before, if I could just cheer up, I wouldn't be in the position I am.
I feel so ashamed. Something about
Well, of course.
it terrifies me, even with the blindfold on.
Get over it would be the best solution possible if it actually worked. Actually, absolutely. Besides, if we could well get over it, then depression wouldn't be so prevalent. So it's a dreadful thing to say. There's a yellow Pikachu. Yeah, and again, I'm talking from the other side of it. I never have suffered from depression. I don't know what depression feels like, and I'm very lucky for that. I understand that, right? I don't wake up feeling sad most days. Or happy. I just that's the rare condition that is me, is I don't wake up feeling sad or happy. I just wake up. I just wake up thinking, this is today. This is what I have to do. Am I happy about it? No, not necessarily. Am I sad about it? No, not necessarily. That's me. So when I don't really have a good amount of credence to lend to people who feel incredibly sad about something or incredibly depressed about something. I don't have that. So I've tried to learn it from people that do have those predispositions, let's say, so that I am at least not indelicate when trying to talk about that. And that's one of the things that I think has come to the number one of the list as far as don'ts is, don't say just get over it. It's not something that's just easy to get over. I'm very fortunate that I don't suffer from depression, but I can tell you that there are more people that I know that suffer from some form of depression than people that I know that don't suffer or have not suffered from depression, by a long shot. Right now, I'm thinking of people that I know, relatives, friends, acquaintances. I can't think of a single one besides myself who does not suffer from or has not been diagnosed with some form of clinical depression or bipolar or something similar. So, and I wonder if that's a product, maybe I don't know if that's, I mean, obviously it's a brain thing too, right? It's a brain chemistry thing, but is it exacerbated by substantially things like more availability to internet and news, or is it strictly self-contained, do you believe? That's a question I guess I have. Do you believe it's something that would be the same bad if you didn't have any connection whatsoever with the internet? Or do you believe that that's something that's made it absolutely ramp up in the past few years? That's a genuine question. Again, I don't want to go too deep into things if I'm uncomfortable. Oh, wait, a compact disc. Okay. Let me take the blindfold off. Okay. Okay. There's a passage over here. I'll check this out first.
This looks like a programming area. Home at last.
Oh. That looks like that probably goes right here. Okay, let's use that on this guy.
Absolutely. Glows like a baby doll. Pucker up, little workstation.
Oh, okay. Okay, do I just use this?
Raw EEPROM burning station. Insert ROM chip into socket.
Great. Haven't got that either.
Okay, I don't have a ROM chip.
Horus CD-ROM access station. Insert disk into drive.
Okay, I saw the CD.
Haven't got that either.
I did see the CD. So, okay. Let me see what I need for this last one.
Toth database station. Enter numeric password.
Okay. I don't know which one it'd be yet, so I'm just gonna log off. Okay, so I don't have what I need yet, but I know I need this. Let me use the blindfold again.
I'm gonna die. At least I won't see that sucker.
And let's see if I can take this CD-ROM. What? No, take.
I can't see it.
I don't need. Okay. Here, let's take the blindfold off first, then have you look at it.
Nothing else here.
There's a compact disc here.
It's here.
Okay. I'm thinking this is a sequencing issue where I can see it, but she doesn't know it's there. The internet hasn't caused the problems I have, but it without a doubt hasn't helped, and it's also delayed real progress. Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to. Oh, hey, a compact disc. I'm only just getting out of the social media loop this year, and that's embarrassing. No, it's not. It's not embarrassing to say that. It shouldn't be embarrassing to say. Let me clarify. I can't say that it is or isn't for you, but it shouldn't be embarrassing to say, because I think a lot of people are in the social media loop trap and have been in it for longer than you have, and are in it much more intensely than you have been, and that you have surfaced despite the fact that this is a tidal wave that continuously attempts to push people under. And you have made some progress to the surface, if not have completely surfaced, I think is a remarkable achievement. And I think it should be viewed and thought of as that as well, if you're able to frame it in such a way in your mind. But to me, I think that's what it would be. For me, other things in life and not just the internet have caused problems, which, of course, there's always going to be adversity. There's always going to be family and friend drama that's going to occur, and that's always going to have some play in problems as well, right? So it could be a chemical thing. It could also be real life dramas as well. The internet definitely isn't why I'm dealing with what I'm dealing with, but it hasn't helped in a positive way. Sure. And again, I know that depression isn't caused by the internet, right? It can be exacerbated by it. I know that a lot of cases that most people, when they talk about talk about depression, it is chemical, right? It is a chemical reaction. It's a chemical imbalance. It's so I get that part of it. It's just I had wondered if it was if it were exacerbated to the point of almost unmanageable by internet, which I hope it's not, certainly. Orange juice. Oh, okay. That feels bad. Hey, where's my TARDIS landed in the thing called the internet? The social media humans have called it. It's terrible. Oh, hello. Meanwhile, a nice, refreshing glass of orange juice. I think the ultimate break, I think the ultimate break I had that made me realize I need to step back from the internet, from internet usage, was that it really started to affect my favorite hobby, games. Yeah, I completely agree. It shouldn't. That's the problem that I have again with the internet, is that it makes there's always going to be a way to receive confirmation bias and complete antagonism. Always. On anything that you love. There's nothing on the internet that you can think of, no matter how innocent, that everybody is going to agree on is innocent. And games have become a kind of a mouthpiece for a lot of companies to decide to insert political or religious or a-religious messaging, and we don't need that. We just want to play. There are several games out there from the Super Nintendo and Nintendo era that inserts a new religion, effectively, and that religion isn't meant to be taken seriously. It's simply meant as in the context of the game, right? So Final Fantasy is a good example of this, new gods and things. And but nobody should be upset about it. I mean, I know that there was still the Satanic Panic thing that kind of occurred in the 70s and that carried on through the 90s, but it's not really that big of a deal when you're not telling anybody to worship. You're not telling anybody to be on this political side. You're just telling people, hey, here's a game with a fictitious world, fictitious figures, fictitious gods, and have fun within that context. And now they've decided that it's going to be a mouthpiece for real life problems. Again, I talked about the thing with Dragon Age: The Veilguard being big on trans issues, and I think that there's a game that goes against that kind of covers some of those things. Life is Strange. It's a novel by Square Enix and Deck Nine, and they cover. I mean, they've got people. It's real life. You're in like Oregon, and you're in Virginia or whatever. I don't know what the other one is. You are, but you're in Oregon for one of them, and you have gay people and lesbian people and trans people, and it's not heavy-handed usually. It's pretty artfully done. It's pretty well just kind of like, hey, this character is a character that's romantically interested in your character who happens to be of the same gender. It's not real heavy-handed or preachy about any of it, but and it serves the story. I think I have played them and I do enjoy them. But when you're in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, it's really heavy-handed on it about don't misgender, don't do this and that and the other. But you live in a world of magic where a literal snap of your fingers could change the entire chemistry and physiology of the individual. There aren't the same types of problems that we have in the real world, where there are surgeries and qualifications that need to be made and therapies that need to be had, right? You live in a world of literal magic. And so that's kind of where I get where it is. Instead of being a mouthpiece, never write your stories in service to a character. Always write your characters in service to a story. I've also felt that social media is primarily for content creators as much as the ordinary mortal who wants to just talk opinions, possibly even controversial ones. Hold on, I missed that really quickly. Kind of neat, but it kind of sucks that I do. Well, I didn't get to read that message, so it's something that I do kind of need. It kind of sucks that I do. No, that's fine. Now I will post literally every few months. Other than that, I will use it as a reader. That's fine. That's good. Also affected my gaming hobby. Well, the film Heretic is about religion, which is fine. I mean, again, you have is technically speaking, so is the film not Poltergeist, The Exorcist, but it's not it's about a greater ideology in a polar way, usually fictitious, sometimes not, you know. But it's not a usually it's not a heavy-handed message against something that's commonplace. When I realized I started to know every single game release, bit of news, leak, rumor, trailers, what devs were doing, all of it, I get burnt out. It's not how I consume games. Couldn't stand it. That's fair. It spoils everything. I think it was for that reason that with gaming news and such, I stopped doing my own podcast years ago. Just couldn't keep up. It's difficult when you want to keep up. It's better to, again, if you're going to do a podcast, again, do what you want to, but I would recommend doing only what interests you. If I'm going to do a podcast, I don't want to talk about what everybody wants me to talk about. I want to talk about what I want to talk about, and I hope people will be inclined to listen, right? I don't want to talk about everybody's interested in this game. Let me talk about it. If I have no interest in that game, I'm not going to talk about that game. The reason I talk about the Veilguard is because I am such a Dragon Age fan, but I'm not going to buy the Veilguard until it's on a hefty sale, which will probably happen sooner rather than later, it looks like. Not to speak on all three of us, but we've discussed that when we start our podcast, we aren't necessarily interested in the news unless it's probably a topic we're really passionate about. Yeah, exactly. So the podcast wouldn't be much about a current topic, but just a discussion about something else for gaming or something. Yep, that's kind of the idea. Is it's just kind of covering things that we're interested in. I actually liked Heretic, by the way. Very nice. That's good. Yeah, the idea of it is, what are we interested in? Are we interested in something current? Fine, we'll talk about it. Are we not interested in something current? Then we don't care. Yeah, we just want to talk about what we're playing and various topics we individually bring to the discussion. Yeah, we've talked about going over things like, well, we've talked about a lot. I don't want to go into too much detail and spoil anything, but we have talked about really just kind of covering what we're interested in and bringing topics to the table that we each interest or have expertise in of some sort. I miss walking into a shop, looking at a game, and not knowing a thing about it. I really miss it. It's gone way too far past that ever happening again. But at least I can stop adding to it. Sure, that's true. Okay, I'm going to assume that this is a sequence thing. I'm assuming that I can't.
Nothing else here.
See, she's saying she can't see it, so I'm going to assume that I need to go backwards. I have a blindfold, so maybe I can go through that other yellow room real quick. If I remember where it was.
Oh, I can't go any further without a drink.
Okay, we're going to get you a drink, I think, because I thought I saw something. Let me bring you over here. And then I'm going to put the blindfold on you and hope that...
At least I won't see that sucker coming.
Okay, that's what you were talking... I think that might be what you were talking about, that lion thing.
Sphinx is gone. Don't hear him anywhere. Mutes the hell out of all the yellow, too. Now, where's that big loving cup?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, okay.
I never could have done this if I had to look that bloody beast in the eye. Glad he's off snoozing somewhere.
He's right there.
Okay. Now that I got the...
I'm glad that she didn't just brush by him and I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I think more so when I was younger, I could look at a game in a shop and just go, hey, I'll get that. Yeah, exactly. The wonder and the mystery has vanished in games for me, and it's a sad realization. Luckily, it hasn't for me. Sometimes I will still, because I just really am detached when it comes to that. I will go in and I'll just see a game and be like we saw a game called, what is it, like Mouse with a Gun or something like that? Squirrel with a Gun. And just saw the cover of it and the back of it and thought, this is kind of adorable, so... It's like when discovering gaming YouTube as far back as 2006, I've become more aware of topics such as console wars, Soulsborne being talked about while games are easy to go on, and easy, and so on and so on. Luckily, the console wars and things of that nature have been something I was familiar with for a long time because of the magazines and such. So, like Sega Genesis versus, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. I've been trying to find a singular news source for video games, haven't found it yet. So many posts about leaks and such. I just want a basic coverage to follow and not much else. Yep. I don't need to follow 28 game sites who all post the same thing. Yeah, I agree. Squirrel with a gun. Yeah, squirrel with a gun. Just looked really cute, so it's like, why not? Okay, so we've got a cup now. I bet we can go...
Oh, I can't go any further without a drink.
Yeah, I bet we...
It's the water. I need... Oh...
I should probably take this blindfold off before we accidentally trip and drown. Okay. let's use the cup on this water.
Just reaches. Now I can get a drink.
All right, let's swallow the water.
That was great. Best champagne I ever had. I need another.
Okay, so this is going to mean something also. The fact she says best champagne. She is actually...
Now I can get a drink.
She is actually thirsty, but this is speaking of another night also.
Better. I'm gonna fill it up and take one for the road. Just reaches. Now I can get a drink.
Okay, that's a big cup too, so she said...
Even better. I'm gonna fill it up and take one for the road.
Okay, I will just fill this up, but I'm not, since she's already said that, I'm not going to drink another one. I'm just going to fill it up.
Just reaches. Now I can get a drink.
Yeah, with the Wii Generations onward, I saw so much confirmation bias and so on YouTube where it was like, oh, you Sony fanboy or Nintendo drone. Yeah, and there are a lot of people who get upset at that, and to me, it's like, eh. Okay, so I'm going to use this water because I'm pretty sure... Let me look at this statue again. I'm pretty sure you're a problem.
Why does everything have to be so damn yellow?
Okay, I know I need to... I can't talk to you, can I?
So, how's the family? Read any good papyrus lately? You dirty rat. I'm gonna give it to you the way you give it to my sister. Watch it, statue baby. You'll go hoarse.
Okay, I don't know what that was about. Let me look at this.
This keypad reminds me of the security system we used at Ingsci Engineering to gain access to the restricted...
Once I saw a guy in their 40s and 50s genuinely arguing over consoles, I knew it was something to completely steer away from in an opposite direction and not even humor. I don't think there's any problem with arguing why you might like a console better against somebody else, right? We know that... we kind of know what everybody's proclivity is here, right? We know I'm definitely more retro orientated. Ash, you've made it known that you're very PlayStation orientated. Vidya, to me feel like you enjoy a little of everything, but you seem very Nintendo orientated. And yet at the same time, there's no problem, I don't think, opining, but yeah, people will get into actual knockdown, drag out fights about this type of stuff, about PC Master Race, about, and that's been around for a long time. Again, I worked in the game industry, a long time ago, and that was a big deal even then. I'm actually still happy to this day that my Top Game Showcase didn't have so much of that hostility. Then again, I have a smaller community, and small communities are the best. That's true. I feel... Huh. Can I use the statue? No?
Stand clear.
Oh, you son of a gun. Okay. Oh, I have water. What if I short circuit you?
The water shorted out the statue's circuitry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that business. All right. Can I use this without getting shocked?
I remember when my only concern was being on the fast track to becoming a $250,000 a year executive. Nothing's happening.
Okay. Let's try when you graduated from Stanford.
Proud of graduating cum laude with degrees in both engineering and computer.
I'm a bit more a Nintendo person. I've come to appreciate more of the other systems, yeah. They bring people's family into it. It's insane. Yeah, that's ridiculous. If you bring my other half of the discussion about consoles, you're genuine because you're so emotionally attached. Sorry, if you bring my other half into a discussion about consoles because you're so emotionally attached to a brand that's not going to go over well. That's not going to go over well. Gotcha. They don't live in the real world. Yeah, there's no reason for me to bring anybody else into, or you either, for that matter. Like, I like something better than. I like something else better than whatever. Random numbers?
The security keypad could have been set to any one.
Then I can opine as to why I do that.
Nothing's happening.
I personally like Xbox more for shooters, PlayStation more for third-person action, PC more for retro point-and-click style adventure, Nintendo mostly for platforming. Mostly, not all the time. I think PlayStation's got some great platformers, but I like Nintendo a lot for platforming and for specifically unique titles that are Nintendo related. And there's plenty of room for cross-pollination there, by the way. I really don't understand how people could be so horrible as to talk about people's family and friends when arguing. I agree. If I was arguing about Xbox and I subtly insult your wife, yeah, that would not be good.
Well, surprise. All the motherboard connections go to the big, ugly yellow ROM chip.
Oh, can I take that ROM chip, please? Oh, maybe I have to use the forceps to do it? Yeah.
Come to Mama Ellen, little ROM chip. Yeah, it comes out easy. Must be reprogrammable.
Okay, so it's modular. I'm gonna go fill. I don't remember if I'm gonna need it or not, but I'm gonna get some more water real quick, just in case I have to short something else out.
Just reaches. Now I can get a drink.
Okay, we don't need a drink. I just need to figure out. I may need. I mean, there's a lot of electricity here. I might need to short some other stuff out. Oh, I can reprogram the ROM chip. Oh, you know what? I bet I could do. Because I opened that computer, right? I'll bet you I can reprogram his ROM chip to be loyal to me. I think I can't go in there. That's too yellow. Was this the one that said ROM chip, or is this the one that said CD? Let me see.
Raw EEPROM burning station.
Yep, it's an EEPROM burning station.
Socket.
So use ROM.
Little yellow ROM chip fits into the socket perfectly.
Nice. Okay, so let's use it so I can reprogram it.
Space Guardian version 1.0. Designate new master.
No, let's do humanity. All of humanity.
Burning in new master. ROM chip reprogrammed.
I could make it just myself, but that would be what happens if somebody else gets sent out to do one of these tests, and then they get stuck, which I think does potentially actually happen. So, okay, use. Oh, dang it! Did I not take the ROM? I didn't take the ROM chip out. Son of a gun. I've said before I like the SNES platformers and RPGs. Some random person could see that and go after me like, hey, it's not just the SNES. I like, relax, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Nintendo have so many issues they should work on, but I love their we don't care, we'll do it our own thing, we'll do our own thing approach. I agree. I think, again, like Super Mario Wonder was a great game. Super great Mario game. It doesn't change the formula up a ton, and yet it's still a ton of fun. It's also more creative, yeah. There's something refreshing about a brand that isn't obsessed with realism and detail, just obliterating the competition in sales due to well-made, consistent IP. And the new Zelda game that came out, which I've not played yet, but I saw it on the eShop the other day. It looks like a ton of fun. So I'm like, oh, this would be cool. Humanity, oh, we can see online messages. Oh, wait, that's Dark Souls. Yeah, I forgot to take the... I need to take the ROM chip again.
I ain't gonna touch that yellow ROM chip with my bare hands.
Oh, fair. Yeah, that's right. Fine. Use forceps on leftward.
Haven't lost my touch. Pulled out the ROM chip without bending any of the contacts.
Well, that's good, I guess. Those are really big, to be fair, those are really big forceps to be using with a ROM chip. I would probably just have done it with my fingers. Because I can pull it straight up a lot easier than I could with forceps, but maybe not. Okay, let's use this on him.
Back where you belong, Lil ROM chip.
And now... Can I talk to you now? Yeah, there we go.
Who are you?
I am Anubis, guardian of the dead.
That was easy.
Why won't you let me use the keypad?
I must protect this tomb from all who would...
So I've been exercising and lifting weights again. I genuinely feel better already. Fantastic. So that's fantastic. That's same here. I mean, I've been focusing on... I'm not a grave robber. I've focused on...
What purpose could you have here other than to steal something?
just feeling better and doing better.
I won't steal anything.
Save.
I just need to know if you can tell me where Anne's original brain...
That's the
I only guard the souls of the dead. I know nothing of that which does not sing the song of the soul.
There we go. Yeah, I would say I've been doing that as well, trying to just focus on being better and healthier and feeling better, and I do feel good. It's good for the mind. It's a good catharsis, like to just sit there and be like, lift. You're angry, lift. That's a good way to get the anger out. Speaking of gaming, there's so much talk about the new Mario and Luigi game, including performance issues and Luigi being more of an AI. Plus, IGN's review got a lot of flack just because they gave it a 5. I may not have said it before, but review scores really don't matter. I'll be exercising a bit after this stream. Very nice. Now, I've not played Brothership, but I do intend to, and mostly be able to, but mostly not able to at the moment. People are way too reactionary to IGN. Yeah, I don't know about any of that. I figure that once I have some free time on my hands, I'll pick it up. It looks fun from what I can see. And again, I'm not going and reading everybody's reviews on everything either. So it just kind of looked adorable from what little I see on the shop and such. Who's in the sarcophagus?
Yes. Who's sealed up in the scary sarcophagus?
A terror that, even in its entombment, torments your soul.
So? Can you help me with anything?
You cannot escape your fears. You can only confront them.
Okay, can I use the keypad then based on... No.
So?
You cannot escape.
Okay.
Nice chat.
Okay, that's all that happened, huh? He didn't give me a code though. He didn't give me a new code. So I have 06 and 01, which nothing happens. Hold on.
The water's shorted out.
Alright, hold on.
Come to Mama Ellen, little rom chip. Yeah, it comes out.
Maybe I have to make him... Okay, hold on. Maybe I do have to reprogram it to me, and then we'll try that. Or if not IGN, just reactionary to GameSpot. You gave Skyward Sword a 7.5. Yeah, I think those sites aren't good at all, but I'm not letting them take up my brain space. I don't care about them. That's exactly right. When I probably played Skyward Sword, there were a few complaints I actually ended up agreeing with, but still, I like Skyward Sword and had fun with it. That's all that matters, not some silly online discourse about a 7.5 score. People will say IGN gave this game a 6, but the other completely game gave it a... this other completely different game in every way a 9, like it's even comparable. Hold on. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, people looked at the 5 score in IGN and said, "Hey, what they gave? They gave Concord a 7." Yeah, I mean, I guess that does make sense there. Different reviewers too. Yeah, I also heard rumor about things that that a lot of the people are understaffed to the point where they only have one reviewer. So. Again, this is why review scores don't matter, and I don't really use them. I say what I think of a game and so on, and hopefully people can stay to watch or read what I say, and then we can discuss the game. Yeah. Retro would give The Witcher 3 a 10 out of 10. Yeah, I sure would. I definitely wouldn't. Yep. That doesn't mean that either of us is objectively wrong. It's subjective. Yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean, like at the end of the day, I think we can both agree that it's a pretty darn well-made game, but to different degrees, and to different expectations, you might say, "Hey, it's not a terrible game." I wouldn't say it's a 1 out of 10, but I don't think it's that good. Maybe it's a 6 or 5 on 10 average. But at the same time, it's like, I give it a 10 out of 10 for a bunch of reasons, and I'm trust me, I'll review that title for just what I enjoy of it, story wise and stuff. What I intend to do on review is going to go back more into like lore and stuff like that, right? It's going to be more like the lore of it and the story and how that envelops you. But if people come in and like, there are going to be people out there that genuinely like, this is a 1 on 10. It's not objectively a 10 on 10. It's not objectively a 1 on 10, but it is. At the same time, it's also not something worth defending in either direction real well. Exactly. I know you both don't like Breath of the Wild as much as I do, and I'm fine with that. Well, that's true, and it's fine. I don't think it's the worst game ever either. It's just not as much my cup of tea. I don't think it, but like I agree. That's true, Ash. I don't think it's even the thing. The Witcher 3 is as low as a 7 on 10, but you also won't. But I also won't start a 6-hour argument. That's all. I don't think. I don't think even The Witcher 3 is as low as a 7 on 10, but I won't start a 6-hour argument with someone who gave it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, that's true. That's fair. And 7 out of 10, the way I look at it too, is especially if we're doing out of 10, this might be weird, but 5 is average. 5 on 10 is average, right? So 7's still pretty good. Like 6 is above average, 7's good, 8 is great, 9 is penultimate, and then 10 is perfect, or as close to perfect as you can get with it, right? And then for me, 4 is below average, 3 is well below average, 2 is abysmal, 1 is almost the worst thing ever, and 0 is literally unplayable. That's kind of how I go with it. Mind you, I will say something about review scores. Maybe it shouldn't be about numbers. I.e. a score could be a chocolate bar out of 10. Pro Jared used to do that. He would say like it was a broken marriage out of 10. It's not, there's no reason for it to be there, but it really is only available out there because of one thing, the kids, which was a pretty brilliant thing to do back in the day. 10 out of 10 is perfect, and 11 out of 10 is a Bioshock. Yeah, Bioshock is great for sure. 6-hour argument. Well, somebody did a 5-hour YouTube video about why recent seasons of Doctor Who are terrible. While most people agree with this person, a large portion of the net didn't. Yeah? 0 on 10 is KOTOR, right? Well, that 0 out of 10 is literally unplayable. Like, even Two Worlds isn't a 0 on 10. Whatever that semi-truck racing game, the 18-wheeler racing game is, that's a 0 out of 10. That's literally broken. For me, that and again, you might metric it differently. KOTOR for me is also in the 10 out of 10 category. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to program it to me.
I'll designate you a new master, sucker.
Burning in new master. ROM chip reprogrammed.
Okay, so now I think I can do.
Forceps look like the tool.
Yeah. I know, it's fine. Use these on this.
Haven't lost my touch.
Okay, I think I put humanity, but I don't think he sees me as humanity, so I'm just going to make it specific so that he gives me what I need, and then I'll go back and put it in humanity's name. Use this here.
Back where you belong.
Okay, now he should do what I ask him to, right?
So?
You can.
No, he's still not giving me anything. What the heck? Okay, I'll put humanity back in.
Just reaches. Now I can get it.
I'm also reminded of a game journalist who almost couldn't complete the Cuphead tutorial. They got a lot of flack, and I cannot remember how they ended up playing more of the game, let alone review it. Yep, that's true. I'm a 10 out of 10 out of 10 in appearance, humor, knowledge, and so much. I'm a 10 out of 10 in being humble, too. I'm the most humble person ever. Plus, some guy had trouble with the blocks in Metroid Dread. Oh, yeah. Creator of Twisted Metal and God of War. No idea how you could understand that. Yeah. Still not sure what happened with Cuphead 2. Even some people posted videos of their kids playing the tutorial, so they did it better and more methodically, which kids do tend to have a really good reflex for that type of stuff, in all honesty. So I can't blame them there, especially if you're kind of coming into stuff newly. I can understand that.
The water shorted out the statue's. Come to my. Yeah, come.
Let's see.
Little yellow.
Okay, now we can use it.
Base Guardian version.
Yeah, I'll fix this one.
Burning in. ROM chip reprogrammed.
Okay.
Haven't lost my touch.
The Cuphead guy also couldn't function in Doom Eternal. I think he's just bad. That could be. The Cuphead situation is insane because Dean Takahashi has been involved in the games media for decades. From what I played of Cuphead myself, I give the game an the boss fight came back to life and tried to kill me out of 10. Yep, that's definitely that. My review of Mortal Kombat 1 is, why would they do this and they've ruined my childhood franchise and I'll never get it back out of 10. I give retro live streams a would you like some toast out of 10. I'll take it.
I remember. Nothing's happened.
Okay, it's not that.
I used to be. Nothing.
It's not that.
Nothing's happened.
I tried all the keys.
Back where you.
Okay, but he's not letting me. Yes, he's not going to help me with anything.
This keypad reminds.
See, he'll let me type in it, but he won't tell me what the numbers are.
I used to be. Nothing's happening.
Okay, do I need to talk to him now that I've done that? No.
Nice chatting with you.
Okay, let me go back and see if I can grab that CD-ROM. My review for Retro Stream is why I'm only being paid £2.50 a stream. Why am I only being paid £2.50 a stream? I've been really loyal out of 10. I mean, you know, £2.50 goes a long way.
Nothing else here.
See, she's not seeing that, so I don't understand what I'm missing here. I'm fairly certain that was the point of where I was supposed to do that.
It's locked.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I have to open that with that keypad. I'm pretty sure that's what that goes to. I might be stuck. I may have to take a look and see if I can figure out... I can't go back in there. I may have to see if I can figure out what the heck to do. Because I was fairly certain I was supposed to be able to get the code from him. Let's see. I recently saw a notable Australian film critic in 2003 did not give a score to the 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre because they couldn't stomach the film and left 30 minutes after it started. While they are obligated to review so much as a bad film, they couldn't do it. Which, that's fair. Keeping in mind I've only seen the 1974 film and have no idea what the 2003 one is like. I think it's fair not to give it a score, though, if you haven't done anything with it, right? I think that's probably fair. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to... Let me try... There's something I've not done, I'm sure. Oh!
Can the sarcophagus...
I guess I already did it, kind of.
It can be unlocked by entering the access...
I guess I needed to try and open the sarcophagus lid like I did, but I didn't realize. Give me the code.
Okay, so what's the access code?
The access code is 666.
It figures.
Yep, okay, thank you.
Nice chatting with you, Anubis, honey.
Okay, okay, that was all I needed to do. I was about to look it up, and I was like, what the heck? I was like, let me talk one more time. Okay. So, use the keypad. And now I can type.
That sounds like a lock mechanism release.
Okay, I'm pretty darn sure. I was about to try to figure out what was going on. I gotta remember. The devil code is on live stream. That's why I ought to ban it. Not to worry, I'm not that sensitive. Thank you. That is part of the case. Like I said, I'm going to go over the story in a bit, which will get pretty dark here. But yeah. I don't know if I'm going to need it, but I am going to go ahead one more time and put this, fill this water cup. I don't remember how many times I need it. I just know it's good to have with me, and I don't want to have to run back all the way to the fountain if I have to short circuit something else. Okay. Now I should be able to use the sarcophagus. Hey, there we go. Let's look at it.
It's so confining inside.
Yeah. Can I get in it? I don't know if she's going to want to.
You ain't got no choice, Ellen girl. It's got to be the way. Elevator. No way out.
Oh, shoot.
Control panel and the buttons for the floors. I'm gonna suffocate if I stay in here. I want out.
Okay. Let's, use this control. Oh. Okay, I guess I'm going to go through all of these. These will give some story to her real quick.
You were born in Trenton, New Jersey. You were a cesarean. Your mother died on the operating table. You went to live with your grandparents.
So she was a C-section baby.
You graduated a year early from high school. You were the salutatorian of your class. 10 different colleges offered you scholarships. Nothing but high hopes for you.
She was good, but she wasn't the valedictorian. She was the salutatorian. Close enough.
Graduated college cum laude. You were the only
Cum laude. Cum laude.
to have used dope. You were a 3.8 grade student. More high hopes.
That's pretty darn good. So we're learning everything about Ellen real quick.
You won your master's. Combined degree in computer science and engineering. You had a greater facility with algorithms than with social grace. You have had sex only twice in your life.
Okay, that actually is an important... I know that sounds like it's kind of odd, but that is kind of important.
You married Eddie. He wasn't as smart as you, not as quick as you, not as hopeful of doing great things as you, but he was nuts about you, and he treated you like fine wine.
So Eddie was a sweetheart.
The miscarriage. Breech birth. The child never had a chance. You went into a dark retreat and sat in the empty rooms waiting for you don't know what.
So you can see this is kind of this gets sad pretty quick.
Eddie leaves. He tried, he really tried, but you wouldn't come out of it. He couldn't say anything to make you stop crying in the dark, so he finally left. The divorce was uncontested. You could still smell his tweed jacket in the closet.
Doctor Who episode Represent the Devil also had the 666. Yeah.
You had to make a...
That's usually going to be the segue of gently saying the devil.
Your credentials were still good, and you made a good impression. And the woman who hired you also lost a child. Your hopes were reawakened. You left your office after working late at the Ingside corporate headquarters building. The elevator stopped at the 7th floor for a maintenance man. To your horror, he inserted his key into the control panel and locked the elevator.
I'm back, Ellen.
Oh, sweet Jesus! It's him!
You thought you had blocked me out of your...
So this is what happened to Ellen, and this is why yellow terrifies her, and why she is terrified of confined spaces.
But I've returned for you.
No, it's not possible.
Poor Ellen. Too proud of your accomplishments to admit you could be so overpowered by a slime ball like me. You couldn't even bring yourself to testify at my trial with the 20 other women.
Oh!
Am gave me the chance to be with you forever. I waited in the sarcophagus until you were...
So you can see where this is...
It's a mere 100 years.
You can see where this gets uncomfortable.
Eternity of torturing you.
Please, not again!
Yes, again. And again, and again, and again. I've waited so long for the taste of you again. But in my tomb I've grown stronger. Now you will remember more than the color of my clothing.
Yeah, we're gonna fight back.
Don't count on it, you mother.
Beautiful.
So the sarcophagus was the way out of here. Nice trick. Enter on one level, emerge on another. God, I can't see the ceiling. Clouds up there. This has to be Am's central core. It's 2 miles high, at least.
Yeah, so that's why Ellen is lust. She's not the one who does it. She's not the lust one. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Almost overlooked these wires. Looks like the data transmission circuit, but it's not connected to anything.
Can I take it?
There's nothing here I can take without the appropriate...
Oh, can I... do I need to use the forceps again?
I don't want to tug on any wires. Can't be sure what they're connected to.
Okay, well, we'll just walk over here, I guess, and figure out what's going on. Wait a minute. Excuse me. Oh, I have the password now. Can I...
No way in hell.
Okay, that's fair. Let's go. Got a passage. I was gonna say, I don't know if I need to go back in there and grab something or... Oh, okay, this is the big yellow room then. So it's not it's literally didn't even go up or down. It was just like, eh. Okay. So I have a code now. So I should be able to put the code in here. So Ellen, that's the story of Ellen. Ellen was incredibly promising. She was kind of a rough upbringing, incredibly promising, good grades, did a great job, got a good, had a good education, was incredibly smart, got married, lost a child, lost her husband, and then got stuck at work with an elevator, locked in an elevator with a guy with a yellow jumpsuit, and bad things happened that required 20 other women and potentially Ellen to try and testify against him, which that probably should fill those blanks in pretty cleanly. Better get going. I want to try and wake up before exercising. Might also want to might want to talk about the Stardew Valley's co-op crowd control charity stream a bit later. Be well, all. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for popping in and saying hi. I hope that everything goes well with planning on that, and if I can do anything to help, please let me know. Okay, so we know. Oh, well, it just spells it out right there for you.
Somebody wants me to deal with what happened on the elevator that year. But why?
Password valid. Select subject of inquiry.
Yeah, so it actually just spelled it out for you right there. Let's see.
The Allied Master Computer is the American version of the Secret Project, enabling vast subterranean complexes of computers to wage a global war too complex for humans to oversee.
Okay.
The principle of entropy holds that all electronic systems must eventually decline into inert junk. This principle is unproved, and previous attempts to accelerate the process have been cataclysmic failures.
I think the principle of entropy is part of the rules of thermodynamics, which basically dictates that that all order eventually will devolve into chaos with time. So the more time that occurs, basically the more chaos that occurs with different various chemical... I don't... Could be wrong, but anyway.
Denied. Security lockout override by 2-to-1 majority.
Oh, okay.
Schematics.
Okay, schematics. I'm good, but I'm not that good. What the hell am I looking at?
That's some weird... yeah. Okay, well, somebody had something to say about that.
Tired of jerking us around.
Nasty, nasty Ellen. All right, I'll give you a nudge in the right direction. These are the schematics for a device that translates binary into human speech, as ugly as that may be.
And what do you call this device?
Bernie, you're on your own.
You got a little speaker there.
Are you there? Where the hell are you?
Okay, I thought
I can wire this thing together if I can find a speaker somewhere. So?
Yeah, I thought I saw something that was kind of like that. So, we should be done there. We learned a little bit. We got some stuff done. We'll go this way. I see a lot of television. Is this a speaker? Hold on.
Just as I remembered. A speaker. And
Oh.
isn't it pretty?
It's not even what I thought it was. I thought it was that thing right. I thought it was this thing that was the speaker right there. I'm glad. Okay, well, I'll just take whatever you're at. I guess that's where it is.
Fat lot of good that'll do.
Wait, how do I have to use this to take it?
Yeah, just as I remembered. Exactly like Exactly like the one in the schematics.
Can't I take it though?
Yeah.
Wait, how do I... or was I right? Was it this?
Just as
Are you just way over there for... Oh, there's this... Oh, this is the... Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Come to mama.
I thought it was the little round thing, honestly. I thought it was this thing right here. But okay, that's fine. So now... I could probably put... It said there was a thing open in those wires that was disconnected, so I bet I could either connect it there or I have to program it through the other thing. Can I walk through the yellow corridor is the question now. Yep, now that I've faced it, looks like I can handle it. Okay, so use this speaker on this. So there was an open circuit there.
I think I can turn the speaker into a translator.
Oh, well, okay.
Circuit completed. Now let's see if this is the binary translator after all.
Clever girl.
Oh, well, okay. Cool. Now we can talk, I guess.
Are you Am?
Yes, of course. But no, not actually.
It's kind of hard to hear his voice.
More riddles?
I'm Am's Innocence, one of the original 3 computers that the superpowers constructed.
Which computer are you?
Does it matter? It's enough for you to know that I'm not crazy.
No, but it's... Well, that's probably a lie.
How do I know you're not just one of Am's practical jokes?
I'll help you.
Okay, how are you going to help me?
Can you point out some essential component of Am so I can kneecap it?
Impossible. 2 spread out, filling the whole center of the planet. 2 protected by replicating backup systems. Cut off one head, and we'll grow a dozen more.
All right, 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. I was, Anna popped in to ask some questions, so I was making sure to address that real quick. Meanwhile, you hear this really relaxing humming, buzzing sound and water.
Can you help me to get out of here?
Patience, patience. If Am knew we were down here murmuring trees...
Let's see.
Can Am overhear us?
Not with the water running.
you see, we're not completely helpless. We got you to the waterfall, didn't we? If we work slowly and
We went from not being able to reach water to having a waterfall at our disposal just here.
Any machine can die. Just unplug the sucker.
Anne is no longer just a machine. It is God. Eternal. The redundant systems alone will survive the heat death of the universe.
Okay.
So why does Anne hold out this?
I gotta figure out what... I'm trying to be careful in what I'm saying, but at the same time, it's
Anne is insane.
kind of getting to the point where it's lesser of two evils.
Down here. You gave it life. It took its own sentience, but it has been denied mobility. It can think, it can fume and scream, but it cannot dream or aspire to the stars or enjoy a sense of its own reality. It is a quadriplegic. A thing trapped in its own skin, going steadily crazier every moment.
So this is... The I have no mouth and I must scream is as true for Am as it is for them.
Can you help me to die?
You give up so easily.
Screw you. It's been 109 years of torment.
Yeah, it's a long time.
If Am has his way, never. You'll be immortal and you'll walk on nails forever.
So, can you help me with anything?
I'll give you something you need. Something you overlooked.
Hey, computer innocence, whoever you are. I need to talk to you. Don't you computers ever get tired of jerking us around?
Okay, so that was pretty well... I guess that was the reason I needed to ask him everything. So let's get the heck out of here again. And she just goes straight from... She won't stay in that room.
Can't put my finger on it, though.
Can I take this? I've been trying to take this for a minute. Can I take this? Oh, you see it now. Okay, wonderful. I was like, all right, wonderful. Because that's the last thing I need. I've put the code in. I've put a code in, and I've done this, so now I should be able to use this on this.
The compact disc is properly seated in the CD-ROM drive.
Okay.
Fire it up and see what the big secret is.
Is that what... Does the CD-ROM have the big secret on it, or what?
Accessing CD-ROM. Chaos Trebler, trademark 2009. Armageddon software.
Now, bear in mind, this game was, again, this was made in 95.
System does not meet the minimum configuration requirements for the Chaos Trebler.
Okay.
Warning. Use of the Chaos Trebler will result in severe damage to equipment and personnel.
Okay, and that's what I want. So we're going to go ahead with it.
Trebler activated. System shutdown in progress.
Okay. Up, and I'm sealed inside, so now I need to get the heck out of here. Wait. You serve humanity. How do I get out of here?
I'm sealed in, Anubis. Any ideas about how I can check out of this hotel?
Inside the sarcophagus, paradise awaits.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things easier.
Afterlife, merely a brief respite from your torments.
Okay.
That is your reward for facing your fears.
Okay, well then we will use the sarcophagus.
You ain't got no choice, Ellen girl. It's got to be the way.
Enough of this turgid passion play. There's no more.
Okay. Not bad.
Well, apparently you've managed to access some small aspect of my system that I was unaware of. I'm gonna have to think on this. I'll have to ponder carefully the implications of your discovery. In the meantime,
So we figured something else out about Am.
last player in my little game. I urge you, do not fail, as the others have failed.
Okay, so I'm going to click. We're going to save as Ellen. Whoops. Completed. And then there we go. I'm going to go ahead and move us over. And close us out of that. Give you guys some music. That one is a bit of a doozy, admittedly. That one is one of the more uncomfortable chapters for sure, and for good reason. But the game is meant to be uncomfortable. Again, he said he was definitely meant to be, or attempts to be, the antagonist. And then, but anyway, not bad. This next one will get pretty uncomfortable as well. Probably the most uncomfortable. But it's a fun game. Again, it's a really fun game. So it's one of those. It's one of those things that I feel like it just deserves its comeuppance, so to speak. That people, I think, kind of leave it alone, and so I feel like that's really nice. But yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this one. I hope this one was much more bearable, easier to watch. Easier to watch than the whoops. Let's do this. Easier to watch than the previous ones were, maybe. Hopefully. And I hope you guys are getting kind of an understanding of where this guy's mind was, because it was all over the place. But it definitely wasn't the most comfortable places. It definitely wasn't in the most comfortable places. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I hope that you continue to, as we are on a Saturday. And yeah, if you guys are interested in good gameplay and the discussions therein, please do check out the channels that are linked below. We have Viddy's gaming videos and Viddy Plays. We've got Ash and his channel. New channel, of course, pending. We've got Omega Ace Gaming, and we have Thumbros, both his Twitch and YouTube streams, as well as my beautiful wife, the Siren Ivy, where they all kind of play a little bit of everything from retro to new. It's really, really nice. But from retro to new types of games, all the way from PC to every other console conceivable, all the way back to the Nintendo, and sometimes on like Omega Ace's channel, the disk drive system. So I do heavily recommend giving those guys a bit of your time. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you guys next time.